A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
And now, Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and what it means to be the wife of a famous star. At Larry's request, Mary is talking to Claudia Vincent, the house guest who has been such a source of trouble for the past few weeks. Right now we find Mary approaching the little room under the eaves, which is usually kept for their good friend Tom Bryson, playwright, when he visits in Rosehaven, Long Island. As Mary reaches the doorway, she observes the signs of Claudia's packing, and we hear...
Larry asked me to come up and see if you were ready for dinner, Claudia.
How very nice of him. But I wouldn't dream of imposing on you by staying for dinner, Mary. I'll be finished with my packing in a few minutes, and then, if you don't mind too much, I'll ask Larry to drive me to New York. Of course, if you don't wish to have him do that, I can order a taxi and go by train.
It's quite unnecessary, Claudia. As a matter of fact, I came up to ask you not to leave us just yet.
Well, really, Mary, that's rather surprising, considering the things you said to me earlier today.
I hope you'll forget that, Claudia. I'm inviting you to stay with us, at least until you're settled in the play.
You'd be very pleased if I didn't measure up, if I couldn't keep the part, wouldn't you, Mary? You'd be able to say, I told you so.
No, I don't believe so. At any rate, I'm asking you to stay with us at least until after your opening night, so that you'll have every chance to start your career on Broadway with the backing of your friends.
My friends? And just who are my friends, Mary?
Well, let's say Larry and I are two of them.
Why this sudden about-face? Are you afraid of what Larry will say if you force me to leave?
No, Claudia, I'm not afraid of what Larry will say. I'm only asking you to stay because I know he'll feel more at ease if you do.
Oh, then Larry asked you to invite me, or is asked too mild a word?
He didn't order me to beg you to stay, if that's what you mean. However, Larry feels that you'll have a far better chance of making a hit in his play if you have his help and backing until you take over.
And I repeat, you'd give a lot to see me fail, wouldn't you?
Not at all. But it's getting late, and Larry particularly wants to get to the theater early tonight. Shall I tell him that you'll join us in a minute?
I haven't made up my mind.
Then I'll tell him that. And you can join us if you care to.
I suppose any way it works out, you will be the poor, long-suffering wife, the uncomplaining martyr.
I don't see that there's anything to be gained by discussing this any further. I've invited you to be our guest until after you're settled in the play. The rest is up to you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I know that Larry is waiting.
Claudia Vincent watches Mary Noble disappear, and she hesitates, looks at her luggage so nearly packed, and then starts toward the doorway. And later the same evening, in nearby Oyster Bay, Julia Dixon and Oliver Wilson are enjoying the moonlight near the beach of Rupert Barlow's luxurious estate. And we hear...
How still the water seems tonight.
Yes. Does Rupert always keep that boat of his tied up? Doesn't he ever take her out at all?
Of course he takes it out. Rupert is very fond of cruising. That's one of the reasons he keeps Victor with him at all times. Victor is an expert mechanic.
He doesn't seem to get much chance to work at it. If I had a boat like that, I'd be out in it all the time.
Perhaps I can get Rupert to take us out while you're here, Oliver, if there's time.
What do you mean by that, if there's time?
Well, I only meant that I'll have to see what Rupert's plans are. He hasn't said very much about them lately.
Are you sure that's what you meant? Or did you wish to tell me in your gentle way that it's time I was getting on?
Oh, Oliver, of course not. I didn't mean anything of the sort.
I do hope that's right, Julia, because, you see, I can't tear myself away from you. Not yet, not while I can still hope that someday I'll persuade you to return with me.
Oliver, you must see that it wouldn't do for me to accept you.
Why? Why on earth not?
Because, for many reasons. I'm years older than you.
Not so many years as you think, Julia. What else?
I'd be a burden to you, a great responsibility.
Oh, do you think I'd mind? Of course we couldn't live as you do here. I've made that quite plain. But we'd manage, Julia. And we'd have a glorious time. Besides, didn't you tell me some time ago that you had a very comfortable little nest egg put by?
Yes, that's true. That is, I've managed in the 10 years I've lived here as Rupert's secretary and housekeeper to save a little.
Are you afraid that I'd be shy about using your money, Julia? It wouldn't make the slightest difference to me. You see, money is so unimportant to me. It's utterly of no consequence to me whose money's spent.
That's a very casual point of view, Oliver. But it must make things awkward for you at times, doesn't it?
Not at all, Julia. You see, I don't need much to get along on, and I believe that I'll always manage. Oh. Does that make me sound like a ne'er-do-well, Julia?
No.
I'm being quite honest. I've told you of my devotion. Oh, my dear, my heart is set on having you marry me. I shan't give up. Not unless you tell me in so many words you want me to leave, to step out of your life.
But I don't want you to do that at all, Oliver.
Perhaps you will when Rupert puts his foot down.
Rupert won't put his foot down. Unless he wants me to leave him.
So, that's how it is. A declaration of independence. No wonder strange things are beginning to happen. Now I begin to understand.
What in the world do you mean?
Nothing, my dear Julia, nothing at all. Will you have a cigarette?
No, thanks.
I believe I will. Now, where in thunder is my lighter?
Perhaps you left it in the house.
I did not leave it. I always keep it in my pocket.
Well, are you sure it isn't there now?
Of course I'm sure. I had it right here in this side pocket, right here in my jacket. Now it's gone.
Then you must have left it. Perhaps it's in the library. Oh, maybe you left it in the dining room table. Shall we go back and look?
I know I didn't leave it anywhere. Someone's taken it out of my pocket.
Now, really, Oliver, that's too absurd.
I had it out to light a cigarette just before that confounded Victor passed the brandy.
You don't think for 1 minute that Victor would take anything out of your pocket.
I wouldn't put anything beyond that fellow. He's as slippery as an eel.
But, Oliver, there'd be no point. Oh, you must see that you're mistaken. If you like, we'll look. Come on, let's go back. I'm sure it must be in the house.
All right. But I know I had it in my pocket.
Well, we'll go back anyhow, just to make sure. I think Rupert is still in the library. Maybe he knows.
I know it's that fellow Victor.
I just know you're mistaken. Victor has been with Rupert for years and years. Come on, let's hurry. We'll cut through the garden.
Oh, you'd better let me go ahead. It's dark in the shadow of these trees. Oh! So what the devil?
I beg your pardon, sir. I didn't know you were so close.
Victor, what are you doing here?
Mr. Barlow sent me out, Miss Julia. I happened to find Mr. Wilson's cigarette lighter on the table by his glass. Mr. Barlow thought he might like to have it.
You didn't have to bump into me and practically knock me down. Couldn't you hear my voice?
I'm sorry, sir. I'm a little hard of hearing sometimes. This is your lighter, isn't it?
Yes, this is my lighter, all right.
So you see, Oliver, you were wrong after all. I knew it must be in the house. Thank you, Victor.
Quite all right, Miss Julia. Good night.
Good night.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Wilson. After you told me about missing your shaving brush, I took the liberty of searching your room.
Well, I suppose you found that, too.
Yes, sir, I did. It was on the windowsill in the bathroom.
Nonsense. I always leave it on the shelf.
I returned it to the shelf, sir. Good night.
This has jolly well got to stop. I won't stand for much more of this.
I don't understand you, Oliver. You sound so angry. And yet you found everything that you claimed was missing. You know something? I believe you're getting absent-minded.
That's exactly what he'd like you to believe. Come on, Julia. Let's go back to the house. From now on, I'm going to be on my guard.
And much later, the same night, Mary hears her bedroom door open quietly and then close. She reaches for the lamp by her bedside, and as it flashes on...
Hey, don't scare me like that, Mary. I thought you'd be sound asleep. I tiptoed in so quietly.
You might as well see where you're going, Larry.
Thanks. Well, Mary, I think we're going to have a star on our hands.
Claudia?
Yep. We went through a few preliminary skirmishes tonight after the performance, and everyone says the same thing. Everyone, that is, except Sheila. She's fit to be tied. I think she'd almost be willing to give up marrying this fine young man of hers just to keep Claudia from stepping into her part in the play.
I'm glad Claudia's going to be so good.
I told you from the start that she's got plenty of talent.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad I was right. It's a big load off my mind. And let me tell you that I don't ever intend to get anyone else started in the theater again.
Why, Larry? I should think you'd be very proud.
Oh, I am, in a way. But I'll be glad when things settle down. I'm tired. Do we have to go to that party of Rupert's tomorrow?
Oh, you don't have to go, Larry. I told you that when Julia Dixon called to invite us.
What about you?
Maud Marlowe and I have accepted. We're going in any case.
Very well. Claudia Vincent and I will go along. But remember that you got us into this.
I don't see why you say that, Larry. It's only a simple little garden party.
I know. But it'll give me a chance to ask our host a few personal questions about a certain business transaction.
Larry Noble, you aren't going to say anything to Rupert about that, are you? Now that it's all settled.
It may be all settled in your mind, and in Rupert's, too, for that matter. But let me tell you, Mary, it's far from settled in mine.
Larry strides toward the dressing room and shuts the door behind him, as Mary begins to wonder if she made a mistake in accepting this invitation. Be sure to be listening tomorrow to Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and her husband Larry Noble, famous Broadway star.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A young woman has been murdered. The body was discovered behind locked doors. The assassin is still at large. Your job, find him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima is doubling and redoubling its smokers. So, if you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, January 9th. It was stormy in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero, and my name's Friday. I was on the way to work, and it was 6:45 a.m. when I got to the steps of the City Hall, the Main Street entrance.
Hey, Joe, wait up.
Morning, Ben.
When did they call you?
5 a.m. Donahoe called you?
Yeah. Miserable out, isn't it?
It's pretty wet. My feet are soaking wet.
See the transfer list?
Yeah.
New chief of detectives?
Wait a minute, I want to get some gum. Pack of spearmint. You know, I heard about the new chief. Thad Brown. Good man. Piece gum?
Thanks. I wish I'd make up some minds about our shift. Work days, they call you back nights. Work nights, they call you back days.
Why don't you put in for a desk job?
You never have to call you back. You're here all the time.
You're just hard to please. Here we are. Take what you sold one. Thanks, Egan.
That's a great way to start off as your new chief. Call you back on a rotten morning like this.
I'm glad you got the job, Thad.
Yeah, congratulations, Chief.
It's hard to follow a man like Ed Backstrom. Gonna need your help.
You got it.
Here's why I called you back. Laura Barclay. The dead body report, nightclub entertainer. Landlady found the body an hour ago.
Who's covering?
Burton and Anderson, they're out there now.
Strangled, huh?
Well, the lamp cord. Still trying to figure out how the guy got in the house. Doors and windows all locked.
Yeah. Attacked. That the motive?
For now, yeah. I just came from there. I think there's more.
Any reason?
Her room wasn't prowled.
Yeah?
Just a hunch. Play it for me.
Ben and I left Thad Brown's office, picked up Lieutenant Lee Jones at the crime lab, and drove to the West Adams district, number 16 Imperial Place, where the body of Laura Barclay had been found. It was an ornate frame structure done in Victorian style, at least 30 to 40 years old. Number 16 was on the ground floor. We went in. A narrow hallway led to the bedroom in the rear of the house. 2 gas jet fixtures, which had been converted to electricity, were the only illumination.
This place has seen better days.
Anybody else coming out, Lee?
I see flash bulbs down there. They must be here already.
Sir, Friday,
Down this way.
Hi, Burton.
Hi. We're tired of discovering the body position. Peterson's dusting for prints.
Fred, shoot a couple of overheads. Don't make them all angle shots. Get up high, then move in close.
The chief was right. Room's in pretty good order.
Did you talk to anybody, Burton?
Landlady lives upstairs. Only 2 people living in the building.
Mm-hmm. Did she tell you anything?
Said the Barkley girl paid her rent on time. Good tenant. Plays the organ at the Blue Fox. Cocktail lounge.
Any idea how the murderer got in here?
Not yet. Every door and window in the place is locked.
Anything else?
That's it so far. We'll give you 15.7 of what we got.
Okay, Lloyd. You and Anderson have another detail?
Yeah, working on that Westwood thing. 2 uniform men outside if you want anything.
Right, thanks.
Looks like a tough one, Joe. Whoever did it must have come in through the keyhole. I'll see you later.
So long, Lloyd.
Andy. Peterson's dusting for prints. Nothing yet. Only piece of physical evidence so far, the lamp cord she was strangled with. I'll run it through downtown.
Not a sign of a struggle. Maybe she wanted to die.
Check the bathroom, will you, Ben?
Yeah.
I'll look around the kitchen.
Hey, Pete, have you dusted the lamps yet?
Not this one. I'm going to see if it's
Ben, come here a minute, will you? Ben.
Yeah?
Come in the kitchen, will you? You got a pencil?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, here you are.
Okay. Take a look at this garbage chute here.
Let me see. About 8 feet to the ground.
Yeah, big enough for a man to get through.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no problem.
Lee.
I'll be right there.
It could be the answer, Joe.
Well, he either got in this way or he was in the house when she came home.
What do you got?
Garbage chute here. What do you think?
Could be. Let me grab a kit. Let's see. Aluminum powder. There it is. No. No, nothing on the outside of the lid. Looked pretty clean. Must have just been scrubbed. Abrasions here. Got a pencil?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Hold it up there, will you?
Yeah,
Yeah, here we go. Large prints. Unusually large. Big hands.
Can I look inside the chute a minute, Lee?
Go ahead. Watch that lid.
Yeah, I will. Looks like it's blocked off upstairs. This thing hasn't been used for garbage for some time.
Most of them were condemned a few years back. I'll get Fred to shoot these. Let's go in the living room.
That desk been dusted, Lee?
Yeah, it's clean. Go ahead.
Take a look, Joe.
Yeah. Photographs.
Hundreds of them. All men.
Yeah, all different. Lee Jones and the crime lab crew finished up and went back to Central Division. 2 uniformed officers remained on duty at the scene of the crime. Thad Brown had men sent out to canvass the neighborhood. Ben and I went upstairs and talked with the landlady, a Mrs. Emma Smith.
Yes?
Police officers. You Miss Smith?
Yes. You're not the same officers I talked with before.
No, ma'am. I wonder if we could ask you a few questions.
I told the other officers everything I knew.
We have to double check, Miss Smith. Who was the girl who lived in the apartment below, number 16?
Laura Barkley.
Is that the name she used? The mail she received, was it addressed that way?
Yes, it was. Oh, she was a very good tenant, Laura. No trouble with her at all.
When did she move here?
Oh, about 4 or 5 years ago. I have the rent receipts. I always save receipts.
Did she always live by herself?
Oh, yes. That apartment rents to one person only.
Did she have many visitors, friends dropping in?
None that I ever saw. Pretty much to herself, Laura. The men came yesterday and took it away.
What's that, ma'am?
The organ. Electric one. Laura rented it from a big downtown firm. Used to practice all the time. My, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
In the gloaming. She used to play that for me.
Mrs. Smith, when did the men come and take the organ away?
Yesterday, in the afternoon, about 4:30.
Was Miss Barclay at home when they came?
No, she wasn't. She left me a note to let them in, so I let them in. I never allow anyone in the apartment without a note.
You know the name of the company where she rented the organ?
Brazier's, it was called, down on South Spring.
Well, didn't you think it was unusual that Miss Barclay didn't have any friends?
Now, officer, I didn't say Laura didn't have any friends. What I said was that she didn't have any friends who came to see her here. She moved here from a hotel for women. That's the reference she gave me.
I see. I wonder if you could give us the address of that hotel, please.
I'll write it down for you.
Thank you. Ms. Smith, did you hear any unusual sounds in Miss Barclay's flat last night? Anything out of the ordinary?
If I had, I would have called the police and we'd have saved a girl's life.
Well, thank you very much, Miss Smith. Here's our card. If there's anything you think of after we've gone, don't hesitate to call us.
Thank you, I will. I hope you get the dirty men who killed Laura.
We didn't say it was men, Miss Smith.
Well, isn't it always a man?
Before we left Mrs. Emma Smith, we asked her about the garbage chute. She said it had not been in use for the last 4 years. We showed her the stack of photos. She could identify none of them. We drove back to Central Division. We checked Brazier's music store. The 2 men who moved the organ were checked out and cleared. We went to the Wynn Hotel for young ladies. They could tell us nothing. Laura Barclay's references were all good. We went back to the office and met with Chief of Detectives Thad Brown.
You think he got in through the garbage chute?
That's the way it looks, Chief.
Went all over the apartment. If there's another way, we haven't found it.
All right, you know how he got in. Who is he?
We got out an APB on his M.O. Latent fingerprints and making a run on those prints we found.
You got an idea about these pictures here. Most of them theatrical stills, show people. Frank Latour and his canine circus. To Laura, all my love, Frank. Tell you what you do. Here's a guy I checked with this morning.
Bernard Carubian, theatrical booking agent, huh?
Yeah, Barney's office is down in the Orpheum building, 8th and Hill. He booked her into the Blue Fox. See what he can tell you.
Right.
You grabbed the pictures, Ben, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Well, you got more than you started with.
Yeah, those fingerprints.
We get a make on him, we'll be close to the guy.
So was the Barclay girl. But he got away.
I wonder if we could see Mr. Carubian.
Who's calling, please?
Sergeant Romero and Sergeant Friday, police officers.
Oh, one moment, please.
Yeah, please.
2 police officers to see you, Mr. Carubian. Sergeant Friday and Sergeant Romero, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Send him in.
Go right in.
Thank you.
All right, let's go.
When them rosy wheels bust through the snow, I'll be coming home on furlough again. When them General Sherman tanks are covered with ice, I'll be home for good, and won't that be nice? No. This guy's stuff was cornbread. Sit down, fellas.
Thank you.
Can I help you?
I understand that you booked Laura Barclay.
Yeah, that's right. I spoke with her. Got his name right here.
Chief Thad Brown?
Yeah, that's right. He asked me about Laura. Too bad about that. Any clues?
We're working on it, Mr. Carubian.
What makes a person pull a stunt like that? Laura didn't have no enemies.
She had one.
Well, I don't know much about her, except I've been booking her for about 4 years. Good organist. Pretty fair voice, too.
Got some pictures here. I wonder if you could take a look at them.
Yeah, sure. Quite a stack. Yeah, old Frankie Latour and them dogs. Great act. I book 'em. Ricky Rogan, King of the Tap. Gus Orinoco and that singing seal of his. Yeah, I know all these people. I book 'em all.
Did Laura Barclay work with all these people?
One time or another, yeah. During the war, USO camp shows, you know.
Do you know whether she was close to any of them?
Well, come to think of it, she was. That Frankie Latour, crazy about them dogs of his.
No, I mean the men themselves. Anybody that she seemed particularly interested in?
Never heard her mention anybody. Pretty girl.
Did you know her very well, Mr. Carubian?
Only when she came in and out of town on an engagement. I'm a married man.
Well, then you don't think there's anything to these pictures here of hers, huh?
I wouldn't say so. When you're on the road, you always collect photos of the people you work with. Souvenirs.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Carubian. Here's our card.
You betcha. I sure hope you catch the guy. Wonder why he picked on Laura.
Sometimes they don't have a reason. When we left Bernard Carubian's office, we checked by the Blue Fox Cocktail Lounge. It was still early. The sign said open 5 p.m. It was 3:15. We went to the morgue in the basement of the Hall of Justice and looked at the coroner's report. The autopsy report stated that the cause of death for Laura Barclay was strangulation. We went to the second floor of the Old City Jail building, the crime lab.
Nothing on the lamp cord. Standard UL 110 line. About anywhere. No prints.
How about the chute, Lee?
Went back there and rechecked. You were right. The guy got in through the garbage chute. Found more of the same prints along with some cloth impressions in the dust.
Tell you anything?
The guy was wearing some kind of tweed, Donegal, 15 to the inch.
How about the size of a man, Lee? How big could he be to clear that chute?
It had a 20-inch diameter. Almost any man could squeeze through that. Checked the ground level of the chute. Cement. No footprints.
You don't have too much for it.
I got one thing for you.
What's that?
I think I found your motive. And not the one listed on the report.
Yeah?
Here are the blow-ups of the body. This 36 by 54 here. Hold that in, will you, man?
No, Al.
Look through this magnifying glass here. The right hand.
Yeah.
See where I'm pointing?
Ring finger, yeah. Looked like ring marks.
That's right. Pretty wide. Must have been good-sized rings.
Well, they might still be in that room.
I called Thad Brown. He had the room rechecked. No sign.
And you think we got a burglary motive on our hands?
That's my guess. Thad had the boys check with the landlady. She didn't know anything about any rings the Barclay girl might have had.
That doesn't help.
I think I got something else here.
Library book. You heard?
There are cards in one of the pockets inside, checked out from the L.A. Public Library main branch. I think these might be your lead on the missing rings. A librarian sees a person's hands every time they check out a book.
That makes sense, Lee. We'll play it that way.
What department were the books checked out of?
The music room. Well, that's it. I think you've got your motive now and a good set of prints. You're close.
Thanks a lot, Lee. Well, let's go to the library, Ben. I'll get it. Crime lab. No, this is Friday. Oh. Thanks, Frank. Well, all we got's a motive.
How do you mean?
No make on those fingerprints. Nothing.
You are listening to Dragnet for the solution to an actual case from official police files. Now, here is a real solution to many of your Christmas shopping problems.
If your friends smoke a long cigarette, give the best of all long cigarettes, Fatima.
Give Fatima for quality.
The name Fatima has always stood for the best in cigarette quality.
Give Fatima for flavor.
Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Give Fatima. They're extra mild.
Yes, Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. Yes, extra mild.
So give Fatima for Christmas in the attractive golden yellow carton.
It's the long cigarette that has doubled and redoubled its smokers. Yes, more and more smokers every day agree Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
4:30 p.m. Tuesday, January 9th. Heavy rain. Laura Barclay's murderer was still a free man. Ben and I were sure that whoever left their fingerprints on the inside of that garbage chute was the same man who murdered the Barclay girl. He had no previous record. His first crime, as far as we knew, was a killing, and the odds were all in his favor. The fingerprints gave us nothing. All we had left to lead us to the killer were 3 library books and a stack of old theatrical photos. The solution of most crimes for the working detective is method and persistence. When you have clues, you work with them. When you don't, you work your way to a logical conclusion as best you can. We went to the Los Angeles Public Library, the main branch. The librarians in the music room handle thousands of readers every week. None of them remembered Laura Barclay. We drove over to the Blue Fox Cocktail Lounge. We interviewed the manager, and he knew nothing of her personal life. We talked to Harry Schumann, the organist who had taken Laura Barclay's place.
What would you like to hear, fellas?
Police officers like to talk to you, man.
Oh, about Laura, huh?
That's right.
All right, if I keep on playing? The manager wants full 15-minute sets.
Oh, yes, go ahead. That's all right.
What can I tell you?
How long have you known Miss Barclay?
Oh, 4 or 5 years. It's a terrible thing. You got to get to whoever did it.
Yeah, we're going to try. Can you think of anybody that might have killed her?
I know you asked that question of everybody. I don't know. Does anybody ever know for sure?
Sometimes.
Well, I don't know. When you think of a person, you never think who might murder her.
Maybe you might know a few things about her that you could fill us in on.
I'll try.
She go in for jewelry much? Rings, things like that?
Funny you should ask that. She was nuts for it. Good things.
Rings?
Had a couple of beauties. Diamonds they were, big stones. Cost $4,000. I know she used to put most of her money into those rings.
She'd buy them on time?
Yeah. I remember one night she was overjoyed. The night she paid them off. Cost a lot of dough.
Can you describe those rings for us?
Not too good. I can give you the name of the jeweler she bought them from.
That'll do. Do you know anybody else that we might talk to?
Don't know any of her friends. She was an only child. No living relatives that I know of. How about her landlady?
Yeah. I guess that's it, Harry. Thank you.
For what? I wish I could help more.
If everybody had your attitude, we'd be out of a job. Before we left the Blue Fox, Harry Schumann gave us the address of Laura Barkley's jeweler. The next morning, we checked with the manager of the store, and he gave us a complete description of the 2 diamond rings which the dead girl had purchased. They were valued at $4,000. He gave us detailed drawings of the rings. We went back to the office, gave the information to burglary detail. An all-points bulletin was put out describing them. Pawn shops throughout the city and state were alerted to watch for the stolen rings. We had lunch with Chief Thad Brown at Costa's Cafe.
Never mind, O'Mara. I'll get it.
Oh, thank you, Chief. I'll get the tip.
Stew was good.
There's some change for the cigarette machine. Thanks. Need any cigarettes, Joe?
No, thanks, Thad.
Let's go.
What do you think, Thad?
The description of the rings and the MO should help. They haven't turned up. Good chance he's holding on to them. Could be his first job. Probably scared.
Anybody check back over the neighborhood there?
Yesterday afternoon and this morning. A lot of door-to-door salesmen through that district. All been checked out.
It's a dead end. Now where?
If only those prints are checked out.
Well, they didn't. Got a kickback from Brericks in Sacramento on his M.O. No make. We'll have to get him with what we've got.
Here's the car.
Sure you picked up all the loose ends?
Oh, we've been back over the course 3 times.
Go over it again. Keep going over it until something breaks.
For the next 10 days, we retraced our steps from the room where the crime was committed throughout the neighborhood to the place where she worked, back to the same dead end. Ben and I checked and double-checked each other to make certain that neither of us had overlooked even the smallest detail of the investigation. We got no place. It was 8 a.m., January 19th. Homicide, Friday.
This is Robles and burglary, Joe.
Yeah, Dick.
Got something for you. Job low last night. Couple of watches, strand of pearls.
How do we figure in it?
His M.O.
Yeah?
Guy got in through the garbage chute.
Besides fingerprints and photographs, one other mark by which the unknown criminal is identified is by his method of operation, his M.O. Once a thief finds a successful means of operation, he seldom changes it. In our search for Laura Barkley's murderer, we had checked our files and found no criminals at large whose practice it was to gain entrance through a garbage chute. It was reasonably safe to assume that this was the same man. It was 2 p.m., January 23rd. I was on my way back from the record bureau.
Just had a call, Joe. Elmer Radcliffe.
Informant?
Yeah. Says 2 days ago he heard about some guy who was making the rounds trying to peddle a couple of diamond rings.
Same ones?
He's not sure. Doesn't know what the guy looked like.
Any idea where the guy is now?
Hasn't been around since. Told Elmer to keep his eyes open.
Oh, that's good.
Come in here, you two.
What do you got, Thad?
The report just came down from burglary. Pawn shop down on North Main took in a watch and strand of pearls last night.
Yeah?
Same stuff that Rubles called you about.
Yeah, I remember.
Where's it tying?
Same guy tried to peddle a couple of diamond rings.
10 a.m., January 25th. Thad Brown arranged to have all pawn shop detail calls concerning the suspect put through to us on extension 2521, homicide. 5 days passed. No further word. Homicide, Friday.
This is George Rose. I run the Harbor Pawn Shop, 2nd and Main.
Yeah, what's the matter?
Man in here, trying to turn those diamond rings. The ones in the stolen property. They
Stall him. We'll be right down. Come on, Ben. Move it.
Yeah?
The next corner.
There it is. Just up the block.
Pull up.
All right, let's go. Yeah.
Here we are. Say, fella.
Look out, Joe. He's got a gun. You all right, Joe?
Yeah. Out the back way. Let's get him.
There he goes, up alley.
Can you hit him? You didn't stop him. Watch it.
Come on, Joe.
He's turning on the spring.
He ran into that cafeteria up the street.
Come on, let's run.
Where'd he go? See him?
Yeah, there he goes. He's headed for the kitchen. Come on.
Stop that man! Stop him!
Out the back door into the alley.
There he goes.
Duck, Ben. All right, Joe, stop.
He's not stopping.
Stay clear.
He's down.
All right, come on. All right, get his guns.
Yeah. You got him in the leg, Joe. Hit his head when he fell.
All right, snap him on.
Look on the little finger of his right hand. 2 diamond rings.
Yeah. Doesn't make sense, does it?
What's that?
$4,000 worth of diamonds, and he's lying on a pile of garbage.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On April 2nd, 1947, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 81, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here are authentic reports from all over the country that tell the story of Fatima's sensational increase in popularity. New Orleans Division.
Fatima sales up 300%.
Detroit Division.
Fatima sales up 348%.
Los Angeles Division.
Fatima sales up 545%.
More and more smokers agree Fatima is the best of long cigarettes. So enjoy Fatima yourself and give extra mild Fatimas for Christmas in the attractive golden yellow carton. Everyone who smokes Fatima says that this great new long cigarette is the best of all long cigarettes.
Laura Barclay's murderer was identified as Martin Eric Swanson. He was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. His case was fought through the Supreme Court of California and in the United States Supreme Court. In both instances, his conviction was upheld. Last Friday morning, after a delay of 5 years, Martin Eric Swanson was executed in the lethal gas chamber at the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Acting Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Dragnet honors the city of Youngstown, state of Ohio, and the men who make up the Youngstown Police Department, another of America's great law enforcement agencies. One of these men, Chief of Police Edward J. Allen, honored as Policeman of the Year, who dedicates his life so that yours might be more secure.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles. This Christmas, give the gift that makes every pipe smoker happy. A Christmas humidor of mellow Granger. Granger is made just for pipes by the tried and true Wellman method. Rough cut to smoke mild and cool, and humidor packed to stay ever fresh. Yes, make this Christmas a Merry Christmas for all the pipe smokers on your list. Give them each a Christmas humidor of mellow Granger.
Listen to Dragnet next week, and be sure to hear Morton Downey tonight on NBC.
My name's Regan. I get 10 a day and expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, Investigator, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of The Lost Lady.
You'll find it in Hollywood, jammed in between Van Ness and Wilton, right off the boulevard, Taft Avenue. Starts at a furniture store, runs for about a block, and then crosses Franklin. What happens to it after that, I don't know. I only go as far as the gray apartment building on the even number side, about the first thing you see. Figures that the guy who built my place never read the earthquake laws. A good crap game and shake it loose. Well, that's where I live. Apartment 308. In the back, where I can keep an eye on a brass drain pipe and a tired-out palm tree. I got a coffee pot and a bed that comes out of the wall. It isn't much, but the phone company had to have an address. That's where I was last Monday night, about 8 o'clock. Some Cleveland fans were running up a house tab in the apartment above me when the phone rang. I thought it might be somebody from Boston. It was the Lion.
Regan, I'm calling you from the office. I stayed late tonight.
You should have joined the union.
We got a new client.
Yeah?
Her name's Isabel Sanchez. I just talked to her.
Did you make a date?
She flew in from Mexico City tonight on American Airlines. She needs help.
They're saying that about the Democrats.
Comes from a fine family. Lots of influence in Mexico.
Try the State Department.
She came all the way to Los Angeles to see her sister, but she's disappeared.
Did you tell her about the Missing Persons Bureau?
I told her about you.
What do you mean?
You're going to find her sister.
I'm no St. Bernard.
You'll do till I can feed one. Besides, she could go to the Mexican Council if she wanted to.
What's that got to do with it?
Remember the Pan-American Conference? We gotta be nice to this dame.
Yeah, well, don't make up a contract.
I already did. She gave me $200.
What else did you get?
She'll tell you the rest.
Don't you ever ask questions?
That's your job. She's got a room at the Belmont. Hop over there and see her. She's expecting you to find her sister.
Is that all?
That's enough. Call me after you talk to her.
I hope her check bounces.
Don't worry. She paid cash.
Well, you can tell that the Lion only stayed in school long enough to learn how to spell dollar. It took me about 20 minutes to get over to her hotel. Isabel Sanchez had a room on the 6th floor. I found it on the Wilshire side. 610 it was. She was a tall, blonde girl, not the least bit pretty. She had a mouthful of good-looking teeth, but she never learned how to use them in a smile.
You're Mr. Regan?
That's right.
Come in. Please excuse me. I'm still unpacking. Come in.
All right.
I'm so glad you're here. I suppose Mr. Lyon told you everything.
Your sister's missing. You want to talk to me?
Yes. Oh, it's terrible. An awful vacant feeling. I was so looking forward to seeing Carmen again. We were very close.
You talk like you don't expect to see her.
Something might have happened to her.
Like what?
I don't know. She's always been so independent and, well, strange.
Well, a lot of people have their own ideas.
I'm embarrassed telling you this.
You've got to tell somebody.
Well, Carmen left home against my father's wishes.
How old is Carmen?
22.
What was the guy's name?
What do you mean?
All right, come on. I got to have it all, lady. There was a man in it.
Yes. Martin Chambers.
From here in L.A.?
Carmen met him once in Mexico City. Thought she was in love with him.
When was this?
A year ago.
She followed him back.
Yes.
You took a long time to catch up.
I've been very concerned about Carmen. I received this letter from her a few days ago. It was the first word since she left home. Here. You can see it's not much. She asked me to come here. I took the first plane.
Mm-hmm. What about this address?
There's no such place. I went there right from the airport.
Who sent you to us?
You're in the phone book.
Is that all you got?
Well, I have a picture, and it isn't very good. Just a snapshot here.
Mm-hmm. Blonde, huh?
A little darker than mine. She's the same height. We wore each other's clothes.
Who else did she know?
Just Martin Chambers. Oh, no. Now, wait a minute. She mentioned a Dr. Menlo in her letter.
Did she need a doctor?
Vito said he'd been very kind to her.
That isn't very much to go on.
I know, but you will follow every lead.
Yeah, sure. What are you scared of?
Why do you ask that?
It's a warm night. You got the shakes.
I had a long trip.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. You know this Chambers?
Yes?
You like him?
No.
What's that you got there in your hand?
An evening gown. Why?
You didn't bring that for me. Well, her story was smooth, but the clothes didn't fit. All the labels that showed said New York City. I went downstairs to a phone booth, and I got a hold of a friend of mine in the CAA. He checked into it, and he told me that nobody named Isabel Sanchez came in on that Mexico City flight. The whole thing looked phony, like a fan dancer in long underwear. Well, it was about 11 o'clock when I got over to the Lion's place. It was a cold night, but the Lion looked warm.
What do you want, Regan? I'm busy.
So am I. I've been looking at that Sanchez dame.
Tell me about it in the morning.
No, I'm going to tell you about it right now. It's no good.
What do you mean?
It's another bum client.
She gave me $200.
Her clothes are out of New York.
Maybe she came the long way.
She didn't come in on American.
So she's got a donkey. All you got to do is find her sister.
I just told you she's a phony.
Let me worry about that.
Well, you can start now. Here.
What's this?
It's a letter and a picture. That's all the lead I got.
Now, wait a minute, Regan. What about our contract?
New Year's is coming up. You'll need confetti.
I can't do a thing like that. We got a moral obligation.
And $200.
I'm thinking of our reputation. I've given our word.
Take it back.
That girl's a stranger in a foreign land. She came to us for help.
Oh, stop it, will you? If there was a quarter in the bay, you'd drop your mother overboard and tell her to hold her nose.
You're getting out of line, Regan.
If she came up with kelp, you'd ring her out for iodine.
That's enough. We got a case, and you're going to handle it.
You're going to handle it. I quit.
And I know this girl looks suspicious, but we have to give our clients the benefit of the doubt.
Why didn't you send her to missing persons?
I'll keep this picture and check with them first thing in the morning. You follow up that memo in the letter.
Well, a guy named Chambers has got priority.
Who's that?
The girl's got a love story.
It's getting cold out here. Check me in the morning.
I'll do that.
Remember, Regan, we always work hand in hand.
Yeah. That's why I never wear a ring. Well, it was too late to do anything else, so I went home and pulled that bed out of the wall. The next morning, I found a Martin Chambers listed in the city directory with an address on Laurel. Turned out to be a 2-story apartment building about the color of a bride's blush. And it was wrapped around a swimming pool the size of a bird bath. Chambers' name wasn't on the mailbox, but a skinny guy with a load of bed sheets told me I could find the manager in apartment 15. When she answered the door, her voice sounded like a beer truck in low gear.
Hello, Sonny. Looking for an apartment?
You got one?
No. Come on in. Having some coffee. You want some?
No, I'll pass.
You don't know me, do you?
I just got here.
I played the Palace in 26. Ah, them was the days.
Write it up and sell it to the movies.
Them slobs. Central Casting had called me in 4 years.
You got a card?
AFRA, SAG, and the Musicians Union. I play French horn. None of them call me. I figure it's a record band.
I'll talk to Petrillo.
I hate this dump. My third husband gave it to me. By the way, what are you doing here, Sonny?
I'm looking for a man named Martin Chambers.
What do you want him for?
Talk to him.
Cop?
No.
The day that guy moved in, I had him pegged for a gigolo. His hair was too curly.
Well, some women like that.
Not me. I used to have to chase him around the swimming pool to get his rent.
You're using the past tense. Where is he now?
Forest Lawn.
That's one way to break a lease.
He got boozed up about 6 months ago and drove off Malibu Pier. Took them 3 days to fish him out.
Straighten his hair?
Yeah, it sure did. Oh, wait a minute here. I kind of like you, Sonny. You get around, don't you?
Yeah, when the weather's good.
Ever run into Louis B?
No, not yet.
If you do, mention my name, will you?
What is it?
Just say that Goldie McMasters was asking for him. He'll remember old Goldie.
How could he forget?
Palace in 26.
Mm-hmm.
Let's back
When I left, she was thumbing through an old variety. She looked unhappy, like a banjo player with a paper pick. Well, what she told me about Chambers took the leading man out of the picture, but there was a bit player named Menlo. Well, I called the office of Paul Menlo, but they said he wasn't in that day, so I drove out to his address in Encino. It was a ranch house poured all over the top of a hill. From the looks of the place, Dr. Menlo must have been getting oversealing for his cough drops. I parked my car by the gate and followed the flagstones up to the front door. When I pressed the button, I heard something that sounded like chamber music. The door opened in the middle of the second chorus.
Good morning.
I want to see Dr. Menlo.
Your name, please?
Regan.
You'll have to call the doctor's office, Mr. Regan.
I already did.
And they must have told you the doctor doesn't see any patients at his home.
Yeah, well, I'm not sick.
Keep it up and you will be. Beat it, Pilgrim.
No, I came here to see the doctor.
He don't want to see you.
Get your hands off me, punk.
Once I hit a guy in the ear, it busted his leg. I can handle this guy, Vicky.
Stop that. Get out, Mac.
I'll be in the back if you want.
You ever been a referee?
I've been a lot of things. Come in, Mr. Regan. I apologize for him. He's so eager. Isn't this better?
No, everybody's eager now.
Anxious is a better word. I like blue serge. Has an effect on me.
You the doctor's helper?
I hold his stethoscope. My name's Vicky Starr.
I'd like to see him.
He's busy.
Where do I wait?
Might be quite a while. He just opened the bottle.
Well, then I'm right on time.
Paul's not sociable like me. He drinks alone. He gets more that way. Let me entertain you.
What can you do?
Watch.
Oh, no, easy, baby. I don't know how to fix a fracture.
I've already got a man that can do that. I want one with brains.
What's the matter with the doctor?
He keeps his in cold storage. Hasn't used them for a long time now.
Oh, I don't know. He's done all right.
This place? He'd be selling papers if his wife hadn't left him a good insurance policy.
Don't you like his money?
Don't get me wrong. I like being secure, but the girl has feelings, too.
Mm-hmm. They're beginning to show.
I'm glad I met you.
Why?
We're going to have some nice afternoons.
It's football season.
I have some free time. Want to hear me on the piano, for instance?
No, I don't sing.
I'll teach you. Paul says I should have an outside interest.
Well, keep looking. You'll find one.
You smile good, but you talk nasty.
You started this conversation, sis.
Max is still in the kitchen.
I came here to see Menlo.
You didn't say what about?
I'll tell him.
There's the phone. Call and make an appointment.
Yeah, I'll be...
Hello, Vicky. Who is it this time?
His name's Regan. He hasn't got a business card.
Have Max show him out.
You Dr. Menlo?
Yes, but I turned all my patients over to another doctor.
Yeah, well, I know one you forgot.
Tell me who.
Carmen Sanchez.
Go ahead, Vicky. I'll talk to him.
Watch yourself, Paul. He doesn't know how to be nice.
It'll only take a minute.
I'll crack some ice.
Good nurse.
She's out of uniform.
We're casual. You said I had a patient named Carmen Sanchez. Who told you that?
Somebody she knew?
Your a relative?
Friend.
You heard some wrong information, mister. I never heard of Carmen Sanchez.
I read about you in a letter.
Must have been another Menlo.
No, there's only one with a license.
You peaked, too. 25 a day?
10. I work for another guy.
Who?
Lion.
Lion's eye. Okay. You're still at the wrong house.
You want to show me your files?
Why not? Come on.
Okay.
They keep a duplicate at home. Help yourself. Want a drink?
Too early.
You don't mind if I have one?
No.
Anything?
Not under Sanchez, no.
Now do you believe me?
She could have used another name.
Got any ideas?
Blonde girl, 5'4", brown eyes.
Means nothing.
Do you ever know a man named Chambers?
Yeah. In high school, back in Denver. Drove a truck.
That doesn't help.
I'm sort of retired now.
Yeah, that's what Vicky said.
Nice girl. Talks to everybody. You satisfied?
Not yet.
Don't mention. Always glad to help out. There's easier ways to make a living.
Yeah, I haven't got a wife with an insurance policy.
A year ago, I'd have broke you in half for that. Now it doesn't matter. You can find the door.
I'll be back.
Don't bother, Regan. Doctor will be out.
I left him sitting there with a glass of rye in his hand. It wasn't much of an interview, but there was a story somewhere. What Menlo didn't have in his files, he was keeping in his head, and figured he might open up if I showed him that snapshot in the letter. When I drove back to town, I put in a call to the Lion. Nobody answered at the office, so I went home. When I opened my door, I caught a load of taboo. Isabel Sanchez was wearing a dress she must have put on with a shoehorn.
You've got the nicest janitor. He thinks I'm your sister.
Where'd you meet him?
He was in the lobby when I came in. I've been waiting for you.
Yeah, well, we got an office, you know.
No one answered when I rang. I wanted to be sure and see you before I left.
Taking a trip?
I leave for Mexico City first thing in the morning.
Well, it was a short visit.
It was long enough.
What about your sister?
That's what I came here to tell you. I found Carmen.
Oh, you did?
Or rather, Carmen found me. I feel foolish now, calling in a detective service and all that.
Why?
Well, Carmen came to my hotel about noon today. And you imagine she's been looking for me.
Last night you said she didn't have an address.
Well, that was another silly thing. Only it was her mistake. She's not very good at details.
Where is she now?
Well, she's out buying a few things and packing. I've convinced her to come home with me.
All right. Now you want to know what I found?
Why on earth should I? I have my sister.
You were worried about a man named Chambers last night.
Carmen told me she hasn't seen him for months.
Did she tell you about her doctor?
No.
I met him. Only he said he never saw her.
Oh, is that so? Well, Mr. Regan, I do appreciate your services. Please thank Mr. Lyon for his kindness. I'm sorry I won't be able to see him.
Yeah, he's going to be sorry, too.
You'll give him this envelope. There's $100 in it.
You're paid up.
It's for all the unnecessary trouble I've caused you. And, Mr. Regan, it's all confidential.
You read the contract.
I wouldn't want any of this to get back. The wrong.
You know some of the wrong kind, do you?
Doesn't everyone? Thank you again. Bye.
Hello?
You run any expenses on this thing today?
No, I didn't.
Good. It's all over.
Isabel said she didn't see you.
There's a guy named Gallagher in missing persons. Got an eye like an eagle. He took one look at that snapshot and opened a file.
What kind of file?
Dead and unclaimed.
What do you mean?
Carmen Sanchez has been dead a year, and the county buried her.
You are listening to the story of the lost lady, tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Before we continue with tonight's story, here's an important message from the Adjutant General's office. The Army Nurse Corps Reserve still has commissions available for graduate registered nurses between the ages of 21 and 45. If you believe you qualify for a commission in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve, apply to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now, back to the story of the lost lady and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, there are enough angles in this thing to write a new geometry book. Isabel Sanchez came to Los Angeles to find her sister, Carmen. She called in the Lion, who started me digging. A doctor named Menlo out in Encino used a milk bottle for a jigger. He was heavy on green stuff, but light on memory, and gave me nothing but an ice cube. His girlfriend, Vicky, was a little different. She gave me a warm glow, but I still drew a blank on the missing sister. Then Isabel walked into my place and said she found Carmen and called off the chase. That's about when the Lion rang and said that he'd found her, too, only his version was a little different. She was holding down a plot in the county cemetery, been dead a year. Well, I caught a cab and I went over to her hotel. A small man with a bald head opened the door and looked at me like I was trying to crash a coming-out party.
Yes?
I'm looking for Isabel Sanchez.
Are you a friend?
She won't think so.
She's not available.
All right, I'll wait.
What I mean is, could you come back later?
What's wrong with her now?
Oh, well, you see...
All right, come on, Buster. Let's throw it in gear.
Are you a guest of the hotel?
No.
Could you please tell me the nature of your business?
I want to see Isabel.
I'm sorry. I can't let you in until you tell me who you are.
Regan, International Detective Bureau. She's a client.
Oh, come in. I'm Dr. Stanwyck, the house physician.
She need one?
Not anymore. Look for yourself.
Uh-huh. How long's she been this way?
2 hours, I'd say. Bellboy found her a few minutes ago. She drank a lot. Alcoholic poisoning.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Regan, When a thing like this occurs, naturally, we don't like it to get around to the other guests. You'll use discretion, I presume.
I'll be as quiet as she is.
Thank you, Mr. Regan. We appreciate it. The elevator's to your right.
I got a good memory.
Regan,
What are you doing here?
I come to talk to our client.
You'll need a Ouija board.
What you mean?
She's dead.
Why'd you let that happen?
She wouldn't have done you any good.
What you talking about?
Yeah, all right. You go to Isabel. You say her sister's buried on the county, but it'll take a little cash to keep it out of the newspapers.
Not so now.
Go back to your contest, Blanks. Big shot. That Sanchez dame didn't come from Mexico, and she wasn't rich.
You mean she's been lying?
I told you that yesterday.
All right, we'll close the Sanchez case.
Oh, no, we won't. It's still wide open.
Where you going?
To buy an airwick. Well, I went down to the Hall of Records. It's a brown building off Temple that leans over like an old lady with a short cane. I took the elevator upstairs, and I walked down to vital statistics. The place was empty, except for a guy sitting behind the desk. He had on a black suit with dust on the shoulders. His fingernails were dirty, and he was reading a dictionary. He must have been at a good part, because he looked mad when I nudged him.
We're not on a bus. Quit shoving.
I want some information.
That's what I'm here for. I'm a public servant.
Now, let's get to the death files, will you?
You're a morbid guy. You got a lot of stuff on births and marriages. Ask me something about that.
Carmen Sanchez died a year ago in August. Tell me what from.
Okay. How'd you spell it?
Just like it sounds.
Sanchez. 17. Solas. Sanaki. Tampa. Oh. That's what happened to old Sandy. No wonder I ain't seen him around.
Get the Sanchez.
All right. I got the Sanchez. Carmen. 22, date of death, 8/30/47. Alcoholic poisoning. She drank a lot.
Who signed the certificate?
P.E. Menlo, M.D.
Thanks.
Next time, make it something hard.
All right. Try this. Menlo's wife died about the same time.
Masters, Marie, Melbourne, Babbitt, Menlo. Sylvia, 34/9/2/47. Alcoholic poisoning.
Certification?
P.E. Menlo. That guy can't keep a patient.
Well, I left when I went back out into the street. It was almost 5, and the traffic was heavy. I started to cross the street to a sandwich shop on the corner. A yellow cab raced me to the sidewalk, but I won. I went inside, and a skinny waitress with peanut-colored hair brought me a cup of stale coffee and a burnt hamburger. I sat there and I tried to figure it. It was like swimming through a tidal wave in hip boots. 3 deaths from the same thing and Menlo's name on every one of them. Well, the answers weren't in the coffee cup, so I went home, picked up my car, and drove out to Menlo's place in Encino. The drive was nice, and so was the reception.
I built a fire.
I forgot the marshmallows.
We'll think of something else. You know, I'm not mad anymore.
I'm still looking for your doctor.
Let me take care of it.
No, I want to see him.
And you'll have to wait again.
When's he going to climb out of that bottle?
We had dinner at a place on Ventura. Paul found the bar. He'll stay till it closes.
I better go there.
Questions again?
Maybe.
I know some swell answers.
I'll bet you do.
I've worked for him a long time.
1 year.
How did you know? This is my night off.
You here all alone?
Isn't it terrible? Anything can happen. How do you like it?
Your way?
That's better. Now, let's have a nice, quiet evening. Just you and me. I had a feeling you'd be back.
Is that why you wore that?
Like it?
Well, you got talent, lady.
Discover me. It's been a famine of men like you.
You don't look underfed.
Why didn't I meet you sooner?
We didn't travel in the same crowd.
Let's start over.
Do you keep his files?
What's that got to do with us?
They'd never pass inspection.
Are you talking about something I should know?
Carmen Sanchez.
What about her?
She died. Menlo signed her death certificate.
Paul's lost a lot of patience. He's not very good. Did I tell you I played the piano?
You told me some other things.
Did I?
They make a good story.
I don't like stories.
Well, I'm going to tell you anyway.
I thought we were going to have a nice, quiet evening.
A girl walked in his office one day and dropped dead.
Good opening. Why'd she do that?
Alcoholic poisoning. She was a nobody named Carmen Sanchez.
The story's getting dull.
There was a snapshot in her pocketbook. That's my shell.
When does the action begin?
Right now, lady. The doctor's wife had an insurance policy. He convinced her to take a trip.
Why'd he want to do a thing like that?
So he could pull a name fix and collect his wife's insurance. He had a body.
No one will ever believe this plot.
He buried an empty box.
How do you know?
I'm going to have somebody dig it up.
What about the body?
He turned that over to the county.
Everybody lives happy ever after. Don't you like my music?
You're going to have to take up the harmonica, lady.
Why?
The gas chamber isn't big enough for a piano.
Who's going to the gas chamber?
You, maybe. And insurance fraud's one thing. Murder's a longer rap.
You haven't touched your drink.
I don't like mine that strong. Now, come on, lady. Get your coat.
Max!
I thought you were alone.
I lied.
Hello, Regan. You look excited.
It's tough, Max.
Yeah, that's easy.
Soften him up.
Oh.
Oh.
I was in a white room when the trip ended. I tried to move my head, but it felt like a grand piano. So I just lay there. Pretty soon somebody put something damp on my face, and I began to see things. Vicky was there, Max. So was Menlo. If I'd have had a deck of cards, you could have played a pinochle game. Menlo looked kind of upset, like an ostrich with a sore throat. He had a needle in his hand.
I got the steak.
You're all right, Paul. Now go ahead.
Just like Isabel.
You should have stayed out, Regan.
Oh, I wanted one more look at you, baby.
I hate to see the nice ones go, but it'll all be over in a minute. All right, Paul.
Give me a drink, Vicky.
Never mind. Hurry up.
Let me have a drink.
Oh, you're too slow, Max.
Yeah? Keep away from me, Max. I'll kill you.
Yeah. Put down that
keep
gun.
away from me as well.
Oh,
I told you to keep away.
Oh. Menlo slugged for care of Max, but Vicky shot Menlo twice. And his knees knocked together. He began to pitch around like a toy balloon in a hurricane. He dropped his gun, but he held onto the needle. Then he slumped forward and made a grab for Vicky, and they both went down. He jammed the needle into her arm.
Oh,
Here.
Same stuff you used on Isabel?
Yeah. They'll call it alcoholic voice.
I'll straighten them out.
Regan, hold my head.
Yeah. Here.
Call a doctor.
He'd never make it.
Please, Regan. Call a doctor.
Give me 5 good reasons.
5 good reasons? I got Vicky. I'll never use a needle again. And
you only gave me 2. Well, we didn't hear from the suburbs, but there were enough ballots to make it an election. Homicide got the insurance commissioner down there, and he threw in a vote. Seems that Isabel Sanchez was Menlo's wife, only her name was Sylvia. When a dame named Carmen Sanchez dropped dead in his office, Menlo got kind of ambitious. He talked his wife into the switch, and, well, everything might have worked out. Except one night when he was seeing elephants, he told Vicky the whole thing. She set the squeeze play with Max in the dugout. When Sylvia got back and saw how things were, she called herself Isabel Sanchez and went to the Lion with a story about a lost sister. I was hired for scare work, and when she figured they had enough, she called me off, but it didn't take. And you know the rest. Well, the insurance company issued a fee for exposing a defraud, and the Lion got his picture on page 1. It was right next to Vicky's. She was wearing one of those French swimming suits. The Lion said that'd do us a lot of good. It did. We each got a free bathing suit.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS at the same time next week for more hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Written by E. Jack Newman and Larry Roman. Produced by Sterling Tracy. The role of Vicky Starr was played by Yvonne Patey. Lorraine Tuttle was Isabel Sanchez. Ken Christie played Dr. Paul Menlo. And Larry Dobkin was Max Brenner. Original music for this program is by Milton Charles. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A small boy is reported missing from his home. His age, 9 years. Foul play is suspected. Your job, find him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, December 22nd. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way into work, and it was 3:55 p.m. when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Hi, Joe.
Ben, what's doing?
Oh, pretty quiet. How's your mother?
Well, that cold's still hanging on. Bad cough. Doc says nothing serious.
My kid's got the same thing. Must be some kind of a virus going around.
Yeah.
Is that a new suit you got on?
Oh, yeah. Ma figured I needed one.
Let me see. Oh, yeah, that's a nice shade of blue. Where'd you get it?
Quincy's down in South Fig. Look okay?
Oh, yeah, that's a good fit.
Did you get all the reports on the Webster case yet?
Yeah, all taken care of.
Let me get it. Homicide, Friday.
Well, this is Levinson, Unit 113J. Got something for you.
Yeah, Harry, what's doing?
Doherty and I are out here on Collis Avenue, 4656. Trying to track down a 9-year-old boy.
What's the story?
The kid's missing. Suspicion of foul play.
How long has he been gone?
About 2 hours. Looks like a job for homicide.
How do you figure?
Kid was last seen playing in the backyard of his home.
Yeah?
We checked over the yard.
Find anything?
Bloodstains, lots of them. They look new.
Ben and I left a message for Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. Then we went over to the crime lab, picked up Lieutenant Lee Jones, and drove out the Arroyo Seco freeway to Collis Avenue. It was an average neighborhood. Number 4656 was a one-story green stucco residence situated on the corner of Collis Avenue and Harrison Drive. Beyond the backyard was a tract of undeveloped land covered with scrub oak. Harry Levinson from Highland Park Juvenile was waiting for us in front of the house.
Back this way, fellas.
I'm coming, Lee.
Wait till I get my back.
Okay. Who notified you that the boy was missing, Harry?
The mother said she went out to do some Christmas shopping about 11 this morning, left the boy home. She came back about 2 this afternoon. He was gone.
What's the name?
Johnstone. Kid's name is Stanley, 9 years old.
Mm-hmm. Was this gate open like this when you got here?
Oh, yeah. I haven't touched the thing. Here are the stains over here, Lieutenant Jones, along the edge of the walk, see?
Yeah. Let me see.
Quite a few stains, huh?
Looks like it might be blood. I'll try some benzodine on these spots here. There we are. See what happens?
Where's the kid's mother now, Harry?
In the house. Doherty's talking to her.
Did you talk to any of the neighbors?
People next door. One's on this side. They couldn't tell us anything.
There it is, fellas.
Galley?
These spots I covered with benzodine, they're turning blue. Bloodstains, all right. Can't say definitely whether it's human or animal blood.
Mm-hmm. You have to go back to the lab to run it through?
Yeah, biological precipitin test. Hand me one of those glass vials from my bag, will you?
Yeah. Okay, here you are.
Thanks. Scrape some of these flakes off for a test. There we are.
How soon can you tap the blood for us, Lee?
Precipitin test won't run more than 20 minutes. It'll take 3 or 4 hours to run a blood grouping, though. That's it. Anything else you want to check?
Levinson, anything else?
Oh, right here, my handkerchief. Empty shell. That marker over there by the rose bush, that's where I found it.
From a 22, huh?
Yeah. Might tie in, might not.
Mark it and dump it in this envelope, will you?
Oh, yeah. Shell. There you go.
Did you get out a missing broadcast in the boy, Harry?
Doherty did about a half hour ago. Oh, here's a description here.
Thank you.
Mother know about the blood stains?
No, we didn't tell her. She's worried enough already.
And she has no idea what might have happened to her boy?
No more than we do. She checked all her friends, relatives. We're covering the neighborhood. No trace so far.
Not much to go on.
Blood stains, empty cartridge.
Could mean 100 things.
Any ideas, Franny?
Yeah, just one, and I don't like it. 4:30 p.m., Thursday, December 22nd. The neighborhood search for 9-year-old Stanley Johnstone continued. Lee Jones went back to the crime lab to start the precipitant test and the blood grouping. Levinson and his partner Doherty from Highland Juvenile stood by. We called Chief of Detectives Thad Brown, and he ordered up a special detail to aid in the search for the missing boy. Ben and I questioned the boy's mother, Mrs. Ruth Johnstone, a woman in her early 40s. She seemed fairly calm under the circumstances.
Miss Johnstone, is your boy Stan in the habit of wandering off without telling you where he's going?
No, he's not in the habit of wandering off, but he has done it before.
When was the last time, Miss Johnstone?
You don't have any children, do you, Sergeant Friday?
No, I'm not married.
Well, there comes that time in every young boy's life when he feels that it's time to leave home, to go out on his own. It usually happens somewhere around 8 to 10.
I think I know what you mean. I got a boy.
Well, then you know how it is. My husband and I scolded Stanley one day after school, and he was quite put out about it. He thought George and I were unfair. Packed a few of his things and left.
How long was he gone?
Oh, no time at all, about 2 hours. I was worried about him, but my husband said to leave him alone, said every boy had to go through that stage.
Well, then you think he's run away from home again this time?
Yes, I think so. He's been gone about 4 hours now, and I have a funny feeling about it.
Did you and his father have some misunderstanding with the boy recently?
Well, that's just it. We haven't. I don't mind telling you now that we're talking about it. I am getting worried.
Any place around that he might like to visit? Hobby shop, playground, where he might be?
Yeah, there's Jensen's model shop and little Shanna Burrows, but I've already called them, and he hasn't been seen all day. I called all his friends. They have no idea where he is either.
We'd like a list of all his friends and the places that he was known to frequent.
Oh, yeah? All right, I'll get them to you. Where do you suppose he is?
Where's your husband now, Miss Johnstone?
Oh, he's at work. George works for the city. He's a fireman.
What house is he stationed at?
Engine Company 12. He's working the 8th platoon. He'll be home tomorrow morning. I haven't told him that Stanley's gone.
Was there any chance that the boy might be down at the firehouse with his father?
No. No, he seldom goes down there anymore. No, I don't think he's there. I'm awfully worried. May I call my husband?
Certainly. Go right ahead.
I know George will be worried. Stanley's been gone too long. Hello? May I speak with George Johnstone? This is Mrs. Johnstone. Thank you. I hate to call George at his work.
Yes, ma'am.
Does your husband own a gun?
Yes, he does.
What caliber, do you know?
Well, it's a .45 automatic. He got it. George? This is Ruth. George, is Stanley down there with you by any chance? Oh. No, I can't find him anywhere. He hasn't been here when I came home from my shopping. There are 2 policemen here. No, I said there are 2 policemen here. Oh, no, dear. I'll call you if we don't find him soon. All right, dear. Yes, you too. Goodbye. I didn't think he'd be with George.
That .45, is that the only gun in the household?
Wait, yes. Why are you asking about guns? Has anything happened that you're not telling me about?
No, ma'am. Just routine checking. We'll have to take a look at that .45, if you don't mind.
Maybe I should tell you. We do have another gun in the house, but it's all wrapped up. George bought it for Stanley's Christmas present.
May we see it, please?
Well, yes. Will you have to unwrap it?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
I think I can reach it. We had to hide it. So let me see. Oh, here's the paper it was wrapped in. Stanley must have found it. It's gone. See, here's the gift card and the box the gun came in, the rifle.
Can I look at that box, ma'am?
Thank you.
How about it, Joe?
22 caliber. Thursday, December 22nd, 5:15 p.m. It was getting dark. The search for the missing boy continued. We checked the list of Stanley Johnstone's friends. None of them or their parents had any idea of his whereabouts. We talked with Levinson again. He had been in touch with the detail combing the neighborhood. They had found nothing. We went down to Collis Avenue and Kent Street, service station on the corner.
1 nickel, Joe?
No, I got one. You watch for that, huh?
Yeah.
City Hall.
2667, please.
2667.
Crime Lab, Jones.
Hi, Lee. Joe Friday.
Yeah, Joe. Any sign of the Johnson kid?
No, not yet. How are you coming?
Finished the precipitin test. It's human blood.
Yeah?
Working with the blood group now. Do you know what type the Johnson boy has?
Well, we didn't want to upset his mother. I thought we'd wait till the last thing. We're still in the neighborhood.
Check with the family physician. That way you won't disturb him.
Yeah, we figured on that. Oh, just a minute, Lee. Yeah, Ben.
Boss just pulled up.
Okay. Thad Brown's out here now. I'll check you later, Lee, huh?
Yeah, right, Joe.
All right, goodbye.
Gentlemen, how's it going?
Just checked with Lee Jones.
Yeah, I know. It's human blood. What do you think?
We talked with the boy's mother, Mrs. Johnstone. Found a gun missing.
Yeah.
Caliber's the same as the empty casing that Levinson found. 22.
You said the gun was missing.
Yeah, the Johnstones were going to give it to the boy as a Christmas present. They had it hidden, but it's gone now.
Any idea who took it?
Well, they left the Christmas wrapping behind. I think it was the kid.
22 rifle, huh? 9-year-old boy. When are they going to learn? First, it's carbide cannons on the 4th of July. The city issued ordinance after ordinance, but a few thousand kids around the country had to lose their eyes, fingers, hands before the parents gives us their full cooperation to outlaw them.
I know what you mean.
Sure you do. You and every other cop in the country became the heavies trying to clamp down on them. It's always the same story. This time it's guns for Christmas.
I know what you're thinking, but we're not sure yet.
Listen, Friday, there's a city ordinance against giving a gun to a kid. You know that?
Yes, I know that.
There's a missing boy and a missing gun. There's blood on the ground and an empty shell. That's enough for me.
We're going to stay with it. Something's got to break.
Yeah. I hope it's not the hearts of that kid's parents.
Oh, hi, Chief. I've been looking for you, Friday.
What do you got, Harry?
Found a gun. New 22 rifle. Strong smell of cordite. I'd say it's been recently fired.
Where'd you find it, Levinson?
Back up there in that scrub oak. Up behind the Johnston house. Mrs. Johnstone identified it. Buckley took it down to the crime lab.
Thanks, Harry. Is Miss Johnstone okay?
Pretty sick now. Kilby came up with something else.
What's that?
There's another one missing. An 8-year-old boy.
6:30 p.m. We talked with Officer Kilby about the other missing boy. He told us that his name was Stephen Morheim, 8 years old. His family had just moved into the neighborhood, and it seemed that no one besides the Morheim family knew that the boys played together. Mrs. Morheim told us that Stephen told her that he was going out to play and that he'd be home by 6 o'clock for dinner. She told us that he was an unusually prompt boy and almost never overstayed his playtime. We got a description of the Morheim boy and put out a missing broadcast. We called the Johnstones' family doctor. He told us that Stanley's blood was type O. At 7 p.m., we talked again with Mrs. John Morheim.
Are you sure Mrs. Johnstone doesn't know where the boys are?
She has no idea, Miss Morheim.
It's terrible. It's just awful. I feel there's more to this thing. Something you're not telling me.
Well, there's no use to upset you until we know a few things for sure.
Then you are holding back something.
Now, please try not to worry, Ms. Morheim. There are certain questions we'll have to ask, routine questions in any kind of investigation.
Is there anything else you want to know?
Yes, ma'am. What is your boy's blood type?
That's a funny question. Do you think anything's happened to him? Have you found him and you're not telling me?
No, ma'am, we haven't found him. We don't think anything's happened to him.
His blood type?
Yes, ma'am.
I think I have it written down in Stevie's baby book. Yes, here it is. Type O.
Thank you. What if I might use your phone, please?
Yes, of course. It's in the hall.
I'll be right back, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
City Hall.
2667, please.
2667.
Hello, Ray. This is Friday. Lee there?
Just a minute, Joe. Take 2, Lee. Jones speaking.
Checking back, Lee.
Did you
get the blood types on the two missing boys?
Yeah, both boys type O.
So were the stains, Joe. Type O.
You are listening to Dragnet for the solution to an actual case from official police files.
8 p.m., Thursday, December 22nd. Still no sign of either of the missing boys. Chief of Detectives Thad Brown went back to headquarters to direct the search from there. He dispatched another detail of 50 men to aid in the hunt for the missing youngsters. 8:30 p.m. It was getting colder. The citrus growers were warned to expect a freeze. We went up the block to see Mrs. Johnstone. Her husband had quit work early and returned home. We talked with him. He could tell us nothing more than we already knew. We still had not informed either of the families about the bloodstains and the empty cartridge casing which had been discovered in the backyard of the Johnstone home. It was more than possible that they had a right to know about our findings, but Ben and I felt that there was no cause to add to the distress of the two families at this time. If the two missing boys were found alive and well, then the bloodstains in the cartridge case would be of no concern to the relieved parents. At 8:40 p.m., Ben and I left the Johnstone house and went to the home of Mr. and Mrs. John Moorheim.
Miss Moorheim, you said your husband worked at a market?
Yes. He telephoned about 15 minutes ago and said he was closing up right away. He'll be here any minute. I do wish Stevie would call or come home. It's so cold out tonight. All he had on was a thin cotton jacket.
Please try not to worry. We're doing everything we can. He's going to be all right.
Stevie's father's such a sensitive man. He and the boy are so close. I know he's terribly upset.
No, you're sure there's no place you might have forgotten? Someplace where the boy might be?
No place. No. If anything happened to the boy, it'll just kill Joe.
No.
You sit still. I'll get it, Miss Moorheim.
Joe?
Hi, Harry.
The Johnstone kid. He's been found.
Oh, he's home, Sergeant. He's come home. Thank God he's all right.
Where's he been? Did he tell you?
No, he didn't. His clothes were all dirty and he's acting strange. I've never seen him like this.
How do you mean, Miss Johnson?
Well, he just came in the front door and said, "Hello, Mom," and then he sat down in a chair and stared at the floor. He won't talk to his father or me.
Do you mind if I talk to him?
No, go ahead. I asked him about the little Moorheim boy, and he wouldn't tell me a thing.
Where is he now?
In the living room.
Looks all right.
Yes. Son, this is a police officer. He wants to talk to you. Now, don't be afraid, dear. He only wants to ask you some questions. Son. You see, Sergeant?
Stanley, come on, look at me, son. Get your head up, youngster. Come on, now that's better. Had your mother pretty worried, you know that? You want to tell us where you've been?
I wish you'd try to get him to eat a little something.
You hear that, son? Want something to eat? Stanley, there's another little boy up the street who hasn't come home. Do you know where he is? His father and mother are worried about him, too, just like your folks were. You've got to help us find him, son.
I killed him. I killed Steve with the .22. We were only playing. But I killed him.
How do you know you killed him? Maybe he's only hurt. Now, isn't that it?
No, he's dead. I know he's dead. The gun went off. We forgot we put bullets in there.
Where is he, Stanley?
I hid him. I was scared. I didn't want anybody to find him.
Where did you hide him, son?
In a cave up on the hill. I didn't mean it. It was my pal.
You want to show us where, son?
Yes, I'll show you. Please don't send me to jail.
9:15 p.m., Thursday, December 22nd. 9-year-old Stanley Johnstone led the way up the hill behind the backyard of his home. He showed us the wagon he moved the body in. His father came along with us. About 50 feet from the crest of the hill, the boy pointed to a thicket of scrub oak. There we found a small cave holding the body of Stephen Moorheim. There was a single bullet wound in his chest just below his heart. He was dead. We covered the body.
Stanley. Stanley, how did it happen?
I knew my folks were going to give me the gun for Christmas. I knew where it was, and I got it. There was a box of bullets with it.
Were you pointing the gun at Stephen?
No, sir. No, sir, I wasn't. It was Steve's turn to play with it. I was chasing him. He tripped over the stump there in our backyard and fell. The gun hit him in the stomach, and it went off.
Why do you think you killed him if you're telling us the truth?
I'm telling the truth, honest. That's the truth.
All right, I believe you, son, but why do you think you killed him?
It was my gun. Steve would still be alive if I didn't go and get it. I should have waited till Christmas. It's all my fault.
Where have you been all this time?
In the cave with Steve.
What were you doing in there, son?
I was praying. I was praying for God to make him alive again.
After a thorough investigation, Ben and I were convinced that the shooting of Stephen Morheim was accidental. Lieutenant Lee Jones' findings substantiated the Johnstone boy's story even to the smallest detail. We put in a call to the coroner's office and acquainted him with the facts. He designated a local mortuary to handle the body pending autopsy and granted us permission to remove the body to the Morheim home. Mrs. Morheim collapsed. The family doctor was called. Ben and I sat in the living room to wait for John Morheim, the dead boy's father.
Edith! Edith!
Mr. Morheim?
Yes. You the police?
Yes, sir.
Where's Edith? Where's my wife? Has my boy come home? Have you found him?
Yes, sir.
Oh, where is he? Steve! Stevie! Where's Steve? He's hurt, isn't he?
Yes, sir.
Oh, where is he? I want to see him.
He's hurt bad, Mr. Morheim.
Oh, where is he? I want to see him.
He's in his room.
How bad?
Pretty bad.
He's dead. All right, if I go in.
If you want to.
Will you go with me?
Sure. Don't make it any harder on yourself, Mr. Morheim.
I want to see my boy.
Mr. Morheim.
Stevie. Listen to me, son. We've got you a lot of nice things for Christmas. Everything you wanted. I got you some 3 new cars for the train. The one with the search lights really works. Son, you got that new switch you wanted to it. Let boy try. Now you can have a big layout. You know that new baseball that you saw? Well, I got it for you. That cowboy outfit you wanted, I got it too.
Mr. Morheim. Come on, Joe.
What happened?
It was an accident. He was playing with the Johnstone boy at the street. Playing with a gun. He went off.
What was the other boy's name?
Stanley Johnston. It was an accident.
Mr. Morheim, where are you going?
I want to see that boy.
We had no idea what the dead boy's father had in mind. We didn't feel that we should try to restrain him. We went along with him up the street to the Johnstone home.
I'm Stevie's father. Where's your boy?
I'm sorry.
Where's your boy?
He's right here. Won't you come in?
It's all right, Mrs. Johnston.
You the boy that was with Stevie?
Yes, sir.
What's your name?
Stanley.
Stanley. I know it wasn't your fault, Stanley. I wonder if you'd do something for me.
Yes, sir.
I've got a lot of nice presents for Stevie. I know he'd want you to have them. I want to give them to you. Christmas Eve.
Mom?
I think that would be a fine idea, son.
Come on, Ben.
Well, what does it all prove, Joe?
You don't give a kid a gun for Christmas.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 24th, 1948, a coroner's inquest was held in the county morgue, city and county of Los Angeles, state of California. In a moment, the results of that inquest. At the coroner's inquest, it was officially recorded that Stephen Morheim's death was the result of an accident. Stanley Johnstone, age 9, was absolved of any legal responsibility for his friend's death. You have just heard Dragnet, a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Acting Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Dragnet honors Hennepin County, Minneapolis, state of Minnesota, and the men of the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, another of America's great law enforcement agencies. One of these men, Sheriff Ed Ryan, veteran police officer and department administrator, who dedicates his life to making yours more secure.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portion transcribed from Los Angeles.
Be sure to hear songs by Morton Downey tonight on NBC.
Novak, for hire.
Sure. I'm Pat Novak, for hire. That's what the sign out in front of my place says. Pat Novak for hire. It's the easy way because down here on the waterfront in San Francisco, you can't afford to wait your turn. If you're going to make a living down here, you got to do everything you can. And you got to be out of the hen house by sunup. Even then, it doesn't work out always because you get trouble tax-free. It's like leukemia. There's nothing you can do about it. There's no way to duck it. You might as well try to start a conga line in the cathedral. I found that out Monday night when I met an old friend. It was the night before elections, and I was sitting in the office scratching married women out of an old date book when Sam Tolliver showed up. I hadn't seen him for years, but it was a nice, easy meeting. What other way is there when you're good friends?
You look just the same, Patsy.
Yeah. It's good to see you, Sam. Sit down.
Sure. Doing well, I guess, huh?
Oh, you get different stories. Where have you been?
Oh, all the hard luck stops. Syracuse for a while and Joliet. That's where I come from now.
Yeah? That's where they got a big prison.
Uh-huh.
When you came too far, Sam, you should have stopped in Oakland.
Huh?
That's right. If you're out here to play small robbery, you better think it over. It's a tough town.
Don't ride me, Patsy.
I'm not, Sam. But once you start losing them, it's hard to win again. I just thought you might want to know about San Francisco.
Thanks, but you don't have to worry, Patsy. I got a smart streak. I'm here mostly to ask a favor.
Yeah?
Can you spare me one for old time's sake?
Medium-sized. Go ahead.
I want to borrow one of your boats.
Did you come all the way from Joliet to borrow a boat, Sam?
If it's going to hurt that much, forget it.
I just asked. All right. When do you need it? Tonight?
It's to pick up a package in the bay about 9 o'clock.
Sure, I'll run you out.
No, it's a little different, Patsy. I can't make the trip. You'd have to do it for me.
The favor's getting bigger, Sam.
You'd have to pick up the package and bring it back here. I'll be waiting at 10 o'clock. I guess you won't buy, huh, Patsy?
I'm not impressed.
It'd mean a lot to me, Patsy. It really would. And you couldn't get hurt, honest.
Nobody gets hurt, honest. It's the other way I'm worried about.
Well, I wish I could tell you, Patsy, but I can't. You know how it is. Sometimes you can't, but... Well, it's that way now, but... You'd be doing me a real favor and you wouldn't get hurt.
That's what Henry used to tell his wives. All right, Sam. But you put out a bad story.
Well, Patsy, you have to go by the China Star. She's out in the stream. Just tell them you came for that package. They won't ask. Just tell them you want the package.
Yeah?
Talk to the captain. I'll be waiting here at your place about 10 o'clock. And, Patsy, it's important. Don't let anybody else have it.
All right. I'll see you here at 10.
Thanks, Patsy. It's a big favor.
We're old friends.
Yeah. We're old friends. Nothing wrong with them, huh?
No, there's nothing wrong with old friends, Sam, except sometimes they wear out on you. When Sam Tolliver walked out of there, I began to worry. I don't know why, because he was always a good guy. But if you leave good silk out in the ring, it'll shrink. Well, it was too late to change my mind now. I was going to get that package and say goodbye to Sam Tolliver. Only things didn't work out that way. You start with trouble and it never stops. It's like offering to buy aspirin for a two-headed boy. About 8:30, I took a boat and I started out into the bay. Halfway out into the stream, I had to give way to a tanker. After she throbbed by, I picked up the China Star, tied up at buoy 327. It was a broken-down old barge, so old I expected to find Noah hiding out in the bilges. Well, I went aboard, and they took me into the captain's cabin. It was going to be tougher than Sam thought. The old man had some questions, and he was about as smooth as a bag of fingernails. Right away, I got the idea.
What do you want?
I came out for a package.
Who are you?
What good will a name do you?
Who are you?
What do you care, mister? This isn't our dance. Just give me the package and I'll leave.
Keep shouting, tough boy, and when you're all through, tell me your name.
Now, look, I'm not out here to haunt your boat. You got the right face for it. I'm just passing through.
If you're running a small boat, you got papers. Let's see them.
Yeah. You're too handy in your own cabin.
Novak, huh? You a Polak, Novak?
Yeah, and it feels fine. How's it being a pig these days?
Don't get jumpy. I just asked. Who sent you here, Novak?
I'll forget you asked. Just keep the package. I'm going home.
You walk home on the bottom, then. Now, look, Novak, somebody steered you wrong. Maybe it was no questions once, but it's not that way anymore. Just want to keep the book straight. Who sent you?
Sam Tolliver. You need a pencil?
No, that's enough questions. You see, Novak, all you had to do was answer. You can have the package now, or talk some more.
I'll take it now. Where is it?
On the desk, behind you there.
Yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome, Novak.
The captain didn't like company. When he hit me, I dropped down to the floor like a piece of hard-working lint. The last thing I remember was Sam Tolliver sending me out to this boat. I knew then I had no more business here than second trumpet in a string quartet. I could hear voices and people moving around, but it didn't help much. You can get that kind of service in a tomb. Somewhere along the line, they moved me, because when I woke up, I was lying in a cloud of plateen on a couch in a different cabin. A class of people had improved. She was bending over me with a cold towel and a warm look. And from where I was, she had a figure like a shot of brandy on a winter night. When she said hello, you knew that all you had to do was send up a flare and relax.
Good evening. Welcome back.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
A little used up. I need recharging.
Here, put your head on my lap. There. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Forget the towel. I'll struggle along this way. By the way, whose lap is it?
I'm Ellen Morrow.
Where's your friend?
The captain?
I guess so, the brave guy, Axel Arm.
He's down getting your boat ready.
What's he doing, punching holes in the bottom?
He'll be back in a minute. The package will be ready and you can leave.
No, you keep the package. The last time I got a headache.
I'm sorry about that. It was a mistake.
That's what they told Marie Antoinette. By that time, her head was 40 feet down the street. What's in that package?
It wouldn't help if you knew.
You let me work that out, huh?
Work out the answer, then.
How about Sam Tolliver?
Slow down, Betsy.
I'm not going that fast.
You're going the wrong way. I'll help you lick your wounds, darling, but I'm not going to get talky.
What do you got to lose?
What have I got to gain except your gratitude? I can get that any night with a couple of drinks.
How is he, Ellen?
How does he look?
Too comfortable. On your feet, Novak.
Yeah. You ought to rent that out, sweetheart. I'd sign a lease myself.
I'll finish the sweet talk, Novak. You get on your way. Here's the package.
No, I changed my mind about the package. You keep it.
Your boat's ready. Unless you want to get tossed in like a mackerel, take the package and beat it.
What's in it, and where does Sam Tolliver fit?
You asked once already with your head in her lap. You want me to sit down?
Well, you got brains after all.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought they were all in your fist. Yeah, you're still smart.
Take this package. Show him the boat, Ellen.
I'm going to remember you, mister.
Ellen's going to lead you by the hand through the dark. Stop beefing and settle for the simple pleasures.
I will. I'll remember you.
Concentrate on Ellen. You'll get a better memory.
I went out on deck with the girl, and as I got to the starboard side, I noticed her hair for the first time. The way you're liable to suddenly notice a flower after a hard rain. Her hair was red, and as the orange lights of the bridge reflected against it, it seemed like a prairie fire, away down in the valley, flaring up quick and then burning low again. The rest of her would have made a good prairie fire, too. It was the only good thing I could think of on the way across the bay. The water was as quiet as a drowsy caterpillar, and I had a chance to think. Why had they changed their mind about giving me that package, and how wet were Sam Tolliver's feet? Well, it must have been about 11:30 when I pulled into the pier and started on the run for my office. The lights were on, and I burst right in because I had a lot to ask Sam. But it wasn't Sam.
What's your hurry, mister?
I came here to meet a friend.
That's the guy laying in the corner. You don't have to hurry.
No, this isn't my friend.
He doesn't look like one. I'm Sergeant Grimes from Homicide. If you're Novak, you're in trouble.
Why?
A guy lying under your desk, dripping like a broken inkwell, and you trot out a question like that?
Well, it's a bum caper somewhere. I was supposed to wait for a guy named Sam Tolliver.
It might as well have been a streetcar. I'm not going to press you, Novak. I don't care. I'm just going to take you downtown.
Well, this boy quit too late. I've been in the bay the last 2 hours. You can check. I went out there to pick up a package.
The one you got in your arm?
Yeah, it's for a guy named Sam Tolliver.
Let's see.
Okay.
It doesn't say that. It says Mr. John Reedy, 720 Post Street.
I wonder what that means.
Let's find out. We'll take it by Reedy's place.
I got it for Sam Tolliver.
You can buy him another. We're going by Reedy's before we get downtown.
What's the matter with you? Do you want it on an 18-foot screen? I didn't kill the guy. I don't even know him. I don't even know this John Reedy.
Wait a minute, Novak. I believe you. I believe every word you're saying. Except this is one time you'd be better off lying.
When we left my office, I felt as if somebody had walked through my stomach on stilts. Oh, there were loose ends bobbing up everywhere, and you couldn't get to any of them. It was like chasing a spider with a bowling ball. With all this new stuff, I forgot about the ship. Who's going to worry about blood poisoning if he's busy having hemorrhages? I began to wonder more about Sam. Where was he? And how was I going to palm off that dead stand-in? Grimes didn't seem worried. We got into his Nash and headed for 720 Post Street. It was an apartment hotel, and Reedy lived up on the 3rd floor. On the way in, Grimes picked up a key at the desk, and we rode up in the elevator with one of those shifty-eyed little guys who'd sell his mother if he didn't have to fatten her up. When we got to Reedy's door, Grimes took over.
Open up!
Maybe he can't hear you, Grimes.
Nobody home. Let's go in.
Why? We don't know him well enough to sneak in.
I rate a hunch, Novak.
Okay. The light's on your side.
Leave it out. Let's look around.
Okay. The stray bodies belong to you, Grimes.
You go look in that set of bedrooms. I'll check over here in the library. Give me a yell if you see any.
All right.
Novak! Two of them. I got one by the desk. The other started down the fire escape. I'm going down in front. Take this gun and stand by the fire escape. He may get trapped and start up, so keep your eyes open.
I walked into the library. The window was open, and the curtains were blowing over the dead man's face. It was a good thing, because you can't split the difference with a Service 45. I took him by the heels and dragged him away from the window. His eyes were rolled back as if he expected somebody to tap him on the shoulder and tell him it was all a mistake. His face was contorted and frightened, maybe a little embarrassed, like a deer caught in a traffic jam. Well, I stayed at the window about 10 minutes and watched the fire escape. There was no action there, and Grimes wasn't back, so I started for the door. I had company right away.
Hello, Novak. You move?
Oh, Hellman.
It's a big gun you got.
Well, ask Junior here on the floor. He thinks it's even bigger.
I'll check myself.
Sure, and it's going to be easy because it's right in the family.
Yeah?
Yeah. Belongs to one of your boys down in homicide.
Go ahead.
A sergeant by the name of Grimes steamed in here and knocked down Junior, and then he beat it down to get the other guy.
I don't believe it.
Well, talk to him.
That's why I don't believe it. There's nobody on the force named Grimes. On this one, you're all alone, Novak.
There's got to be a Grimes. The guy had on a uniform.
I don't care if he had on a playsuit, Novak. The guy's a phony. He's not from homicide. He's a killer.
That's what I meant, Hellman. I knew Hellman was right. If Grimes was on the level, he'd have booked me instead of coming up here. He came up to Reedy's with murder in mind. Even if they believed the story about Grimes, I was still in the spot. That made me accessory to murder. And I was going to look worse when Hellman found the guy down in my office. On that one, I had star billing. Oh, everywhere I turned, things were worse. I knew it was going to take a low-budget miracle to bail me out. It was like trying to give nose drops to a herd of elephants. Hellman seemed to like the idea. Hellman rolled the guy, and there was no identification. But he never works for nothing.
A few bucks in the guy. I'll put it in the safe.
The only safe you got has suspenders on it.
I don't like that, Novak.
Oh, you'd do anything for a buck, Hellman. If you got the right bid, you'd sell the tomb of the unknown soldier. Thanks, Hellman. I'm getting a big list tonight.
I can do all of that I want, Novak, because you're in the corner pocket now. I got a tip-off from the Chronicle to come up here, and I find you holding last rites.
You got a bigger headache, Hellman. There's another stiff down at my place.
Huh?
That's right, Grimes again. He was sitting there when I walked in.
Where were you?
Out in the bay, picking up a package. It's right there on the desk.
What's in it?
I don't know. It was for a friend of mine named Sam Tolliver. He's disappeared, and Grimes brought the package up here.
I'll take it downtown.
You better tag by the China Star. That's where I picked up the package. It's out in the bay, so you'll need a boat. Even a guy with your complex needs a boat.
I'll touch all the bases, Novak. You just stay 10 cents away from headquarters. You can pay your own way into the can.
Yeah, well, that's what'll happen if I wait for you. I'll be standing out in the downpour.
That's right, Novak. If there's a chance, I want to see you get first prize.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be stuck unless I shop around myself because you got lockjaw of the brain, Hellman.
Yeah?
That wouldn't hurt you so much, but if it spreads, you're going to be in trouble. That's what I'm waiting for. Well, if something didn't happen soon, I was going to be about as embarrassed as a hostess with leaky plumbing. I was counting on Hellman to shake down the skipper of the China Star. And if that didn't work, I could close shop. I didn't have any leads. There wasn't anything I could do but sit on my hands. It was like taking your niece to a nightclub. I had to stumble around until something showed. So I looked up the only honest guy I know, an ex-doctor and a boozer by the name of Jocko Madigan. Oh, he was all right until he found out sometimes you can feel as bad the next morning without a hangover. I toured the town and finally found him at Lupo's trying to put the vineyards out of business.
Ah, Patsy, you're just in time to start the day off right. Mama Lupo, some wine for Mr. Novak. You can only have a quart. We're running low.
Look, it's almost midnight, Jocko. I got to talk to you.
We're not going to turn into pumpkins. You need some wine.
No, I don't.
Patsy, when you die, the artwork is going to be simple. On your grave, they'll chisel a picture of a pair of slacks, a hamburger, and a double malt.
All right, Jocko.
The final symbols of a decayed civilization, because that's as close as you ever got to civilization, a remote connection at best. Like a bookie, they love horses, but they die on a stock farm. It's the same with you and civilization.
You all through, Jocko?
I won't fight against your sober babble. What's the matter?
There's a dead guy down in my office.
A friend of ours?
No.
Oh, that's too bad. We'll miss the wait.
I'm going to get half hung by homicide. The other half is dead up in a Post Street apartment. Hellman thinks I'm the boy.
Patsy, I wish you wouldn't hang around me when you've just killed somebody. You tarnish my declining years.
I went out to the bay to pick up a package. When I got back to my place, instead of a friend named Sam Tolliver, there was a dead guy there, and a phony cop called Grimes.
How do you make the distinction?
He grabbed the package, and we took it up to Post Street. After a quick hassle in the dark, I'm standing over a dead guy in John Reedy's apartment.
John Reedy?
Yeah. Do you know him?
Most people do. He's running for office tomorrow. Is he the dead man?
No, I don't think so. What about Reedy?
He's running for a board job.
Yeah? Would anybody have a reason to work a plant on him?
Maybe.
What's he like?
Oh, a sort of liberal by marriage.
Hmm?
A reactionary with a rich wife. Supposed to be a good man.
Well, how about the opposition?
Oh, a lot of them are running. One is Simpson. He couldn't beat an asthmatic turtle across a tennis court.
Well, we're getting somewhere at least. If Reedy's good, the gambling dough would frame him to lose.
Yes, if politicians can ever lose. A murder in his apartment would look too phony, though.
Yeah, but maybe that package wouldn't. Jocko, you got to help me. I want you to check on the registration of the China Star and then nose around to find out what you can about tomorrow's election, will you?
If we lived in a monarchy, this wouldn't happen.
That fast double play has got something to do with this election. Now, hurry up, Jocko, and when you're through, tag by my place. I'll call you there.
Have you a bottle in the house?
There's a tap in the kitchen. That'll have to do.
No, thanks. Outside of a child in pain, the most pathetic sound in the world is running water. Good night, lover.
I left Jocko and ducked into a phone booth. When I called Hellman, he poured out news like a rotary press. They broke open that package down at headquarters. It was full of dope. Plain garden variety, the kind a man uses to forget either his wife or secretary. I was sure then the package was a plant on Reedy. Hellman didn't see it that way. He said the two dead men were Gunsel's, last addressed before San Francisco State Prison at Joliet. I needled him about that phony cop Grimes. Hellman said they just got a tip-off by telephone. Grimes was an ex-sergeant in homicide whose real name was Vic Rothery. I asked him who phoned in the tip-off, and Hellman said he didn't know the guy. His name was Sam Tolliver. I got out of the Chronicle morgue and looked up everything I could on John Reedy. All politicians' children sit on the floor. There was a picture of Reedy there with his family grouped around him on the floor. I pulled the clips on Vic Rothery. It was Grimes, all right. Well, that gave me something to work on, so I went on the prowl for Ellen Morrow. I found her running a dice game in a little after-hours joint on Eddy Street.
You want chips, Novak?
You don't want to play against yourself? Yeah, give me some.
All right. See how good you are.
Okay.
8's your point.
Yeah. You seen Sam Tolliver?
Make your point, Patsy.
That's it. Where's Sam Tolliver?
5. You're not even warm. You're not warm on Sam, either.
He left me hanging with a murder rap.
Your friend double-crossed you.
He double-crossed you, too.
Another 5. You're in a rut, Patsy.
He turned in Grimes. That's right, baby. They know he's Vic Rothery now. You still like Sam Tolliver?
No. Keep rolling, darling.
Is Grimes your boyfriend?
He used to be. I'm sentimental.
Where's Sam Tolliver?
The Herrick Hotel. When you see him, tell him I sent you.
I will if we talk that long.
There it is.
Hey, come on.
8.
That's right.
I guess I lose, Patsy.
I guess you do. Be seeing you, baby. She changed when I left. The first time out, she was alive and breezy like the Maine coast in July. But now she was broken up and lonely looking. And as I walked out, I thought of an old Dixie cup somebody had used up and thrown in the alley. Well, I got down to the Herrick Hotel, but Sam Tolliver wasn't there. Maybe it was better that way. I left a note for him, a short note that even a Mongolian idiot couldn't trip up on. If Sam was going to show his hand, he had to do it soon. When I got back to my apartment, Jocko was already there. He was giving a concert for the mice.
Oh, she pushed a baby carriage, she pushed a baby carriage in the merry, merry month of May.
All right, Jocko.
She pushed a baby carriage, she pushed a baby carriage, she pushed it for a Williams man who's far, far away.
Oh, stop it, will you?
Patsy, I wish you'd get rid of that radio and buy a good harpsichord.
What'd you find out, Jocko?
Nothing from the China Star. She weighed anchor and went to sea at 11:45.
How about Reedy?
Well, there's heavy gambling money against him. And there's talk about a last-minute scandal. All the newspapers had tip-offs.
Where was he tonight?
At a rally in the Mission District with his whole family.
Well, that'd leave time for a plant. They broke open that package. It was full of dope.
Oh, that makes sense. He was once under treatment for malaria. The drugs found in his apartment would make it look bad.
Yeah, I'll get it. Hello, Novak talking.
I hope so, because you got a lot to do.
What's on your mind, Hellman?
A girl named Ellen Morrow. Who killed her?
Did they?
About 20 minutes ago. Vic Rothery's picture was all over the place.
Yeah, they were chums. You better pick up Sam Tolliver. He's at the Herrick Hotel.
I'd rather have Vic Rothery.
Haven't you picked him up yet?
No, we're on our way out.
Well, you better hurry, Hellman. There won't be any voters left.
I thought Sam Tolliver was a friend of yours.
Well, that's the trouble with close friends. You give them the shirt off your back so they can see where to put in the knife. After Hellman's call, I knew we were coming up for the last hand. I met him, and we rode down to Vic Rothery's hotel. It was early morning, just about the time Dawn is too sleepy to get out of bed. In the pale light, Geary Street looked like a shabby old lady with a snootful, and Rothery's hotel was worse. Hellman flashed a badge on the night clerk, who reached over and handed us a key. It was a funny thing to notice then, but the guy's hands were short, and his fingers were peeled and stained yellow as if they'd been dipped in weak acid. Well, we rode up to Rothery's room. As we got out of the elevator and turned the corner, somebody ducked into Rothery's room. That was enough for Hellman. He started down the hall.
Open up in there.
Well, you got another customer, Hellman.
Open up.
Come on in. You're going to wake everybody up.
Hello, Sam.
Come on in. Don't mind the gun. It's loaded.
You're a handy cop, Hellman.
That's it. I'll close the door. All right, over near the window.
Yeah.
Go on.
Sure. You got an answer for Rothery here?
You too, copper, over near the window.
I ask you got an answer for Rothery here?
You're looking at it, mister. You know, Patsy, I'm sorry you came. I could bounce a few off of this guy with no pain at all, but it's going to hurt on you.
Don't kid me, Sam.
I don't know why you came, Patsy. You could have left me alone. I didn't mean to put you in for this. Things went wrong and you were in, that's all, but I didn't mean to do it, Patsy.
Give the man your gun.
You were a good guy to me, Novak. I'm sorry you drew the deuce. I'm really sorry because, well, you were a good guy to me.
Well, I'm not anymore, Sam. You got 5 feet to make up your mind.
I got it made up, Patsy. Now stay back. Let me try it out on him first.
You've had practice.
Stay back, Patsy. I'm in a hole and I'll burn my way out. You know that. Patsy, I'm in a hole. I gotta get out.
Don't kid me, Sam. I was your last friend. All you got now is the road.
Stay back, Patsy, please. Patsy, stay back.
Let that, Sam.
I must have prayed wrong, Novak.
Yeah. Sorry, Sam. I'm a tough loser.
Yeah. You were right, Patsy. It's a bum down. A small robber.
For a while, you looked big.
Not for long, no.
No. You're a small-time bum, Sam, and you're better off dead.
I wouldn't argue it. I'm sorry, though.
I doubt it.
I guess that's right. I didn't try very hard.
How's your friend, Novak?
Let's go. Our friendship's over. finally pieced it all together. He got that skipper back and put him under the lights. The story was damp, but it fit together. They were all in on a deal to railroad John Reedy. Vic Rothery headed up a bunch to plant the dope in his apartment. But Sam Tolliver got anxious and decided to get the stuff for sale. He talked a couple of buddies into it and sent me out to the ship to pick it up. The captain smelled a switch and knocked me out long enough to get word to Rothery on the beach. Rothery got the guy in my office and the other guy that Sam posted in Reedy's place in case anything went wrong. That left only Sam on the other team. Rothery wore the uniform because it was an easy way to plant the stuff in Reedy's apartment. But the timetable went haywire, and he got tripped up by that tip-off call to the Chronicle. That's about the way it was. Well, Hellman asked only one question. How come Sam Tolliver headed for the girls' place and then Rothery's? I don't know. Except maybe that note I left Sam. How'd I know he'd believe a lie? Well, it worked out for everybody except John Reedy. He lost the election anyway. Jocko forgot to mention the guy was a Republican.
Novak for Hire was previously released by ABC, the American Broadcasting Company, for listeners in the United States, and rebroadcast for our men and women overseas. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.
Ladies and gentlemen, for a more authentic presentation, portions of the program you are about to hear were actually recorded on the scene.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A gang of hold-up men have been running loose in your city. They've committed more than a dozen robberies. They're heavily armed, quick to shoot. Your job, stop them.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima is doubling and redoubling its smokers. So, If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Saturday, July 21st. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the record bureau, and it was 6:55 p.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery detail.
Hi, Joe, you ready?
Let's go.
Where'll I dump this top coat? There. It's too hot out tonight for that.
Yeah. The rest of the guys take off already?
Yeah, we better hustle.
How many men are working this thing tonight?
Must be at least 50, covering every drugstore in the South Central area.
Which one did we draw?
Naomi in South Alameda, Rex Pharmacy.
Yeah.
Parking lot across the street. We can cover the pharmacy from there.
We better check out a Thompson from the business office first, huh?
That's a good idea. We might as well be ready. They are.
Who got the tip the gang was moving into the south end of town?
Johnny Powers, one of his informants.
Okay, here we are.
Business office, Blair. Yeah, I'll take care of it. Thanks.
Hey, Blair, do you want to check out a Thompson for us?
Okay, Friday. Heavy duty?
Yeah, kind of.
There's a sign-out book.
Thank you.
Hey, you might as well give us a shotgun while you're at it, Blair.
Okay. Check these out for an hour. Sounds like a busy night for you fellas.
Maybe.
Thompson's okay. So the shotgun.
Want to sign up for the shotgun too, Joe?
Yeah, okay. One Thompson submachine gun, one shotgun. You got those serial numbers there, Blair?
Yeah. Thompson 67811.
67811. Yeah.
Shotgun 655228.
5228. Okay. Signed, Joe Friday. Serial number 2288. Ben Romero. What's your serial number, Ben?
2633.
Oh, yeah. 33.
6 shells for the shotgun, 50 shells for the Thompson, okay?
All right, I'll sign for him. Okay.
Gang's pretty rough, I understand. Gun heavy.
Yeah, that's what they tell us. Okay. Here's the book, all signed.
Okay. Here you go. A lot of firepower there.
Yeah. Hope you don't have to clean them when we bring them back. We went down to the basement of the city hall, picked up our car, 80K, and drove out to Naomi and South Alameda streets. We located the parking lot and pulled in. There were 4 other cars parked in the lot so we wouldn't be conspicuous. Ben and I got in the back seat out of the light. From our vantage point, we had a clear view of the entrance to the Rex Pharmacy across the street. We had the shotgun and the submachine gun on the seat beside us. We listened to the calls coming on the radio, and we waited.
13, Joe, stand by. There's no cooler here than it is in the office.
Yeah. Hot and sticky, huh?
Yeah. Paper says it's going to be worse tomorrow.
Roll down your window, will you, and get some air in here?
Yeah, huh?
The pharmacy isn't doing much business. Not more than a dozen people in there in the last hour.
No soda fountain to get. Sure is hot.
You have to talk about it, huh?
It helps.
What time you got?
10 minutes to 10.
No smoke?
No, thanks.
Yeah, I'll get it. That gang's gonna show up here. Wish they'd get it over with.
Fellas might have got a bum tip.
Well, the gang hasn't missed a weekend for 2 months.
I wonder how much time the average cop spends waiting.
I don't know. Put it all together and make a fine vacation. What do we do, sit this out till the pharmacy closes?
Yeah, 2 a.m. Sure is hot.
Yeah. Midnight came and passed. The traffic on South Alameda thinned out.
Only an occasional customer entered the pharmacy across the street. Ben kept complaining about the heat. We waited.
Well, that's it, Joe. There go the lights. Drugstore's closing.
Yeah, guy's locking the doors. There he goes.
We might as well shove off, too.
Yeah, let's get in the front seat.
There's not much call for this shotgun tonight.
Well, no use checking it in. Same duty to mine, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Attention all units. All units in the vicinity of 8th Hill on the corner of Hill and Geneva Alley and 211 and shooting. Code 3.
Hit the light. Yeah, come on, let's roll. Sunday, July 22nd, 2:15 a.m. Ben and I pulled up at the Merchant Security Trust Company on the corner of South Hill and Geneva Alley. 2 patrol cars were already on the scene, and 4 uniformed officers were trying to keep back a crowd of people who had gathered at the top of a flight of marble stairs which led off the street down one flight to the bank's night depository. At the bottom of the stairs, an elderly man was sprawled out, face down, his right arm twisted under him. The man was dead. Ben counted 5 bullet wounds in the victim's back. We interviewed the only witness, a young sailor.
My name's Vasey, Sergeant. Don Vasey, quartermaster, 2nd class. Here's my ID card.
You saw the shooting, Mason?
I was about a half a block away. I just came out of the bar down the street there, the Top Hat.
Yeah?
Had a couple of beers, then I left and I started walking back to the hotel.
When was that?
About 5 after 2.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
Well, before I got to the corner, I saw this man ahead of me. He crossed the street and headed over for the bank. Then this car pulled up and some guys got out. They ran over to the man and it looked like they were frisking him.
Yeah?
All of a sudden, I heard shots. The man ran for the stairs here, and it looked like he stumbled and fell. A bunch of guys jumped back in the car and drove away.
What'd you do then?
Well, I ran up to see what I could do for the old man. He was lying down there where he is now. Nothing I could do for him. I yelled for a cop.
Did you get a look at the men in that car?
No, I just saw him from a distance. 4 of them, maybe 5.
What about the car? Did you see the license number?
The last couple of numbers, that's all. 699. Couldn't see the rest.
Mm-hmm. What was it, a coupe or sedan?
A sedan, maroon color. It was a Pontiac, either a 1940 or 41.
You sure about that?
I used to own one back in Delaware, 1940 model. I sold it to my brother when I went in the Navy. I'm sure all right.
And you're sure about the number of men in the car?
Oh, yes, sir. 4 or 5, no more.
I see, thanks. Well, will you drive back to the office with us and give us a full statement?
Sure, Sergeant. Anything you say.
You can wait in the car, Vasey. We won't be long.
Sure.
Well, what do you think?
I don't know.
Drugstore gang?
Said there were 4 guys. Could be. No description.
Maroon car. 3 numbers off the license plate.
Pretty thin.
Yeah. Looks like a hard summer. We completed our preliminary investigation. The coroner arrived and the body was taken to the county morgue in the basement of the Hall of Justice. The victim was identified as Walter Conroy, the proprietor of the Flowerland Dance Hall on South Hill Street. Together with officers Fremont and Hurst from homicide, Ben and I spent most of Sunday tracking down employees of the dance hall and interviewing them. We sent a rush teletype to the Department of Motor Vehicles in Sacramento containing the partial license number, plus our scanned information on the car, which the suspects drove. Early Monday afternoon, Ben and I, along with Captain Ed Walker of Robbery Detail, met with Chief of Detectives Thad Brown.
What kind of a motive are you working on?
Robbery. The dance hall manager, Conroy, was on his way to the bank's night depository when this bunch caught up with him. He had the night's receipts with him from the dance hall.
How much they got, Walker?
$350. They missed over 1,000 Conroy had in an inside pocket.
No idea who pulled the stick up?
Could have been that drugstore gang.
Why them?
We haven't missed working a weekend night for 2 months. There's no sign of any other job that they might have pulled Saturday.
Just a hunch, Chief. Nothing to go on. We'll have to guess our way for a while.
Sacramento checking the description of the car, the numbers off the license plate?
Yeah, ought to have an answer this afternoon.
Any leads on the drugstore gang at all?
Plenty. None of them good. Suspects are loaded down with guns. That's all we know.
Excuse me. Brown speaking. Just a minute. Friday's for you.
Oh, thanks. I reached over here. Friday. Yeah, Ralph. How many? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Well, I got an answer from DMV Sacramento about the hold-up car.
What'd they say, Joe?
Well, they looked up the possible combinations of 1940 or 41 Pontiac sedans with the number 699 on the license plate.
Yeah?
123 possibles to check.
Not much choice.
No car of that description on the hot list. Killer might be the legal owners.
123.
Well, even after we check them, we still might not have the right party.
That's right. If we get a better lead, we'll work on it.
Nope.
Well, then ride this till it falls apart.
For the next 13 days, Ben and I, Fremont and Hurst from homicide, plus a half a dozen other men, hacked away at the list of 123 car registrations, any one of which could have been issued to the hold-up car. The color of the sedan didn't help us much to start with, since California vehicle registrations do not include the colors of the cars. After 14 days of gradual elimination of possibles, the field was narrowed to 6, then 4, and then 2. August 6th, Monday, 5:30 p.m. Ben and I were called to Thad Brown's office.
Gentlemen, you check out that last possible yet?
About 20 minutes ago. It didn't pan out.
What about Hurst and Fremont? They had one left.
Right here. Could be the answer.
Yeah.
1940 Pontiac sedan, license number 4XA699. Last registration, San Diego.
Sounds good.
We teletyped to San Diego police. They say the car's been sold to a woman out in Santa Monica.
Anyone checked her?
Well, that's what I want you two for.
San Diego and Santa Monica. Well, it's in the right area.
Can't afford to miss now. I hope it's the right one.
Well, it's got to be. Check it.
Ben and I checked the woman in Santa Monica, Mrs. Fielding. She told us that she had sold the car 6 months before to a friend who lived in Bakersfield. We contacted her friend. He told us the car had been traded in by him to an auto dealer in Pasadena. We checked the dealer. He said the car had been sold off his used car lot 2 months before. The new buyer had given his name as Emil Thurston. 2 names were given as reference, Lloyd Newton and John Lacombe. We ran a routine check through the record bureau.
Ran them through, fellas. Here's the packages.
Get a make for him?
On all 3.
What'd you find on Thurston?
Let's see. Thurston, 2-time loser, second time up to Q on 5 counts of armed robbery. On parole from Quentin now.
How about the other 2?
Lacombe, let's see. Preston reformatory, 2 terms, went up 3 years ago, violation of Dyer Act. He's on parole, too.
What about Newton? Did you make him?
2 terms in Oklahoma. They're looking for him now, on parole.
Can I look at that just a minute, Frank?
Sure.
Let's have all 3 of them. Take a look, Ben. Each one of the mama sheets on these 3 guys.
Yeah.
Look. Right here under General M.O. See?
Mm-hmm. Thurston, heavily armed at time of arrest.
Yeah. This one, Lacombe. Huh?
Heavily armed.
This one on Newton. Same thing.
Gun happy.
Yeah. Come on. At the time he purchased the car, suspect Emil Thurston listed his home address as 1517 North Hoover Avenue. Previous robbery victims positively identified Thurston and his companions. At 1517 North Hoover, the landlady also identified Thurston and his companions as tenants. She told us they drove a red sedan and they parked the car at a Temple Street garage. An immediate stakeout was placed on the apartment house, and we started the canvass of Temple Street garages from Hoover Avenue down to Rampart Boulevard. At 4 p.m., Ben spotted the car in Donnelly's garage on Temple Street near Michigan Drive. The garage attendant told us that the owner of the car had given his name as Emil Thurston. We showed him the mug shots.
Yeah, used to park his car in here a while back. Then he came in yesterday morning with these 2 guys and said he wanted a paint job.
Doesn't look like he needs a paint job to me.
They offered me $20 extra if I do it in a hurry. He wants the car painted green.
When's he going to call for the car?
About 10 o'clock tonight. These jobs take time. He's not going to like it if the car's not finished.
He won't like it if it is. Come on, Ben.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. Now, here is an authentic report from Fatima Cigarettes.
In 1949, Fatima doubled, tripled, and quadrupled its smokers.
In 1950, enjoy Fatima yourself.
You'll find Fatima extra mild.
Because Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobacco superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild.
You'll find Fatima tastes much better.
Fatima's superb blend gives you a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
you'll find Fatima tops in cigarette quality.
Fatima has always stood for the best in cigarette quality. For a new year of greater smoking enjoyment, buy Fatima in the appealing golden yellow package. You'll agree, Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
7 p.m. Tuesday, August 7th. Chief of Detectives Thad Brown and Captain Ed Walker swung the entire robbery detail into action. The stakeout at the apartment house on North Hoover continued. An additional detail of men was stationed in a vacant store on Temple Street directly opposite Donnelly's garage. Donnelly's garage was a small family outfit, and the only spot from which we could cover it thoroughly without being seen was from a large paint locker set up against the right wall. The garage man cleared enough room so that Ben and I could fit into the locker in a half-stoop position. 2 small latches were rigged up so that we could pull the doors closed from the inside. 4 ventilation holes at the top and bottom of the doors provided us with peepholes. At 8 o'clock that night, Ben and I took our places inside the locker. The trap was set. We waited.
Can you see all right, Joe?
Yeah. It's hot in here. Stale air.
It's a tight fit. I'm getting a clamp in my shoulder.
What time did that garage man say he closed?
11 o'clock. It's lousy paint smells.
Stuff it, man.
Hey, that car pulling in. Can you see the driver?
Wait a minute. It's nothing. Somebody getting gas.
Hope they show up. Wouldn't want this to go on another night.
Well, don't count on it.
Foot's going to sleep.
Why don't you stand still? What time you got?
Let me see. Get the light on in here. 10 minutes to 9.
Thanks. The popular conception of the working detective rarely includes a glimpse of his everyday run-of-the-mill duties. Filling out forms, conducting interviews, or waiting long, monotonous hours parked in a car or standing half-crouched in a garage paint locker. It's slow, dull, and tedious, and it's 95% of the police officer's job. By 10 o'clock that night, there was still no sign of Thurston and his friends. The cramped locker got more cramped with the passing minutes. The air was thick with paint fumes. We waited. At 10:55, a taxi pulled to a stop in front of the garage. 3 men got out.
You see him, Joe?
Wait till they step into the light. There's another guy still in the cab.
Here he comes. There's the first guy.
Yeah, it's Thurston.
4th guy's getting out of the cab.
That looks like Newton, doesn't it?
That's him.
Yeah, it's Lacombe right behind. Fat guy. Here they come.
You sure do look the part.
All right. Unlatch your door, but don't open it.
Yeah.
Quiet, Ben. What's the matter?
That latch is stuck. Wait a minute.
Did you get it?
No, it's really stuck.
All right, tap it with your gun stock. Come on, easy.
There it is. It's loose.
Good. Can you see where they are now?
Yeah. Talking to the garage man. Not looking this way.
No, they just stay that way, huh? You ready?
Okay.
Don't tip them off till we're right on top of them. Let them get away from that garage man, huh?
Right.
All right. Let's go. Approximately 25 or 30 yards separated us from the suspects. I glanced across Temple Street at the vacant store where Thad Brown and the other men were staked out. 25 yards is a long way to walk when you're approaching a murderer, and you know that he won't hesitate to kill you in order to escape. Ben flipped the safety off the machine gun. We were almost halfway across the garage, 15 yards away. Thurston turned and saw us.
Look out, Joe! I got one of them.
They're ducked behind the car, went up the stairs. 3 of them.
Come on. Where'd they go?
Up the stairs.
Up this way, Joe. Yeah, watch it, Ben. Get out. They're somewhere back in that corner up there.
You're trapped. Throw down your gun. All right, Ben, give it over. Throw down your guns. Throw them down.
There's 3 of them.
6 of them. All right, now come on down with your head behind your head. Cover me, Ben. I'll frisk them.
Right. You up on the end. Get your hands back of your head.
All right, stand still. All right, next one. Go on. Clean. All right. Lacombe.
Watch him, John. Rest of you, stand back. Keep your hands up. You all right, Joe?
Yeah. 2 more guns on him.
All right, you two, hold it. Here comes Chief.
Yeah, I'll get these guns together here. Lacombe, he's not much of a fighter.
Not without a gun. The suspects were booked at different divisions to keep them separated. Emil Thurston and Lloyd Newton were taken to Hollenbeck Park and booked on suspicion of armed robbery and murder. John Lacombe was booked at Highland Park Jail on the same charges. The other suspect, who had been wounded in the escape attempt, was identified as Harold Steves, 19 years old. He was treated for a leg wound at Georgia Street Receiving Hospital and then transferred to the prison ward at the county hospital. During the next 2 days, each of the suspects was questioned individually. Thurston, Lacombe, and Newton would admit nothing. The 19-year-old Steves broke down and agreed to turn state's evidence. We took his statement to Chief of Detectives Thad Brown.
Gentlemen, what did the boy tell you?
Just about everything, boss. They pulled the drugstore holdups and they killed that dance hall owner, Walter Conroy.
Which one of them?
Well, the kid says Thurston shot him. He says Thurston's the gang leader.
Good. You finally get a count on those guns you took off them?
Yeah, 12 of them. Each one of them was ready to go, bullet in every chamber.
Did you get a complaint from the DA's office yet?
They were arraigned. Preliminary hearing set for Monday.
Fine. You got them in jail. I'll put them in prison.
The apprehension of the criminal doesn't mean the end of a case for a police officer. He spends just as much time helping to convict the criminal after he's caught. Evidence must be gathered and authenticated and presented to the district attorney's office. If confessions are possible, they must be obtained and put in order. The officer must also help out in formulating the case and in testifying at the trial of a suspect. On October 30th, almost 3 months after the Thurston gang was apprehended, they were brought to trial in Superior Court. It was a routine affair. Harold Steves took the stand and told the story of the gang's activities. The victims identified the suspects and testified to the robberies. Both Ben and I took the stand and testified to the arrest and possession of guns by the defendants. We received no cross-examination. On the morning of March 2nd, the case went to the jury. Ben and I had lunch with Lieutenant Rombo from robbery in the City Hall cafeteria, and it was 5 minutes past 1 when we got back to the office.
Oh, it sure was good soup today.
Yeah, it was a nice lunch. You want to check the mail?
I didn't yet.
Oh, I'll get it. Robbery Friday. Yeah? When? Right. Lacombe and Thurston. They just broke jail. Within 7 minutes, a dragnet for the escaped criminals had been thrown around the entire city. Chief of Detectives Thad Brown directed the operation. At 14 minutes past 1, he called us to the photocopy room. The machines were turning out duplicate mug shots of Thurston and Lacombe for distribution at the rate of 1 every 4 seconds.
You want us to stand by, Chief?
For the moment, yeah. We got all the help we need on the street.
How'd they pull the break, anyway?
Slugged the deputy when he brought in their lunch. Used a steel leg from one of the benches in the prisoner's tank.
Yeah?
And they beat the deputy right into the ground, but he held on to Newton. He didn't get away.
How'd Thurston and Lacombe ever get out of the building?
He's a real freak. They slugged the elevator man and got down to the basement. Right then, an ambulance crew was wheeling a body into the morgue. The attendant left the ignition keys in the ambulance.
Shouldn't be too rough to track them if they're in an ambulance.
Tougher than you think.
How those copies coming, Frank? Fast as we can make them, Chief. I have another batch for you in a minute.
You had any reports at all yet, boss?
Couple. They're moving fast.
Frank, you want to get that? I can't see in this dark room.
Yeah, I'll get it. Yeah?
Chief Brown in there?
Yeah, come on in.
Now, Walker, what do you got?
Kill that dry, will you? Oh, yeah.
Now, what do you got?
Gas station out on Sunset. Lacombe and Thurston just held it up.
We picked up our car in the City Hall garage and drove out to the service station on the corner of Sunset Boulevard and Lorraine Drive. Detectives Ruiz and Stromwall from robbery were already on the scene. The two escapees had abandoned the ambulance there, robbed the station of $56 in currency, and stolen a 1938 gray Packard coupe, license number 7 Robert 6336. We left the station and started to cruise the area. It was 1:55 p.m.
Attention all units, attention all units.
Get it up, Joe.
Yeah.
6380 North Sunset at 211 in progress. 6380 North Sunset at 211 in progress. Code 3.
This is the 6100 block.
Yeah, come on.
6380 North Sunset.
Yes, north. Maybe. Push it. Hey, that car pulling out up ahead there.
Gray coupe.
Wait a minute. 7 Robert, that's them.
Lights changing. They can't make it.
They're going through. They're skidding.
They hit the lamppost. Broke it off.
All right, pull up. Come on.
Right.
All right, let's go.
Lucky if they live through this one.
Yeah. All right, come on. Help me with this door.
Yeah, all right.
Pull. All right, can you take him?
Yeah.
I'll get Lacombe.
You look okay?
Yeah. Get Thurston out of here.
Right. Come on, you. Come on. Yeah.
All right, Lacombe, come on.
I'll give you a gun. I'll kill you.
Oh, sure you will. Come on.
I'll kill you.
All right, don't try to walk. How's Thurston, Ben?
Seems okay. Couple of scratches.
All right, sit down over there.
Lacombe slugged the guard. It's funny. They don't look very tough.
They can't play their part. They haven't got their guns.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On March 3rd, 1947, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 91, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to Fatima. Here are the actual figures. New York Division.
Fatima sales up 132%.
Chicago Division.
Fatima sales up 453%.
Los Angeles Division.
Fatima sales up 545%.
Yes, in 1949, more and more smokers discovered that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
They found Fatima extra mild.
They found Fatima has a much different, much better flavor.
They found the name Fatima means the best in cigarette quality.
In 1950, enjoy Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
Emil Thurston, John Lacombe, and Lloyd Newton were convicted of first-degree murder and robbery and sentenced to life terms. For turning state's evidence, 19-year-old Harold Steves received special consideration. As a result of the jailbreak, Thurston and Lacombe were convicted of assault and escape. They are now serving life terms in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Acting Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Dragnet honors the city of Pasadena, state of California, and the men who make up the Pasadena Police Force, another of America's great law enforcement agencies. One of these men, Chief of Police Clarence H. Morris, traffic specialist and veteran police administrator, dedicates his life to making yours more secure.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, portion transcribed from Los Angeles.
Be sure to hear songs by Morton Downey tonight on NBC. Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. 2 armed bandits have robbed a large jewelry store in your city. One of the suspects escapes. One is apprehended. He's identified as a friend of yours. Your job, send him to prison.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima is doubling and redoubling its smokers. So, if you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, February 8th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way over from the city hall, and it was 8:35 p.m. when I got to the second floor of the Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. Treatment room.
Joe, hi.
Hi, Doc. Ben, how's it going?
Okay. It hurt for a while. Doc gave me an injection.
1/6 of a grain of morphine, Novocaine injection.
Bullet still in your shoulder?
Doc's about ready to take it out.
As soon as I get the wound cleaned, here's the soap and water nurse. Alcohol sponge, please.
How's it look, Doctor?
Well, there's the x-ray. Shallow penetrating wound in the deltoid area. Sludge, large in the soft tissue right here.
Oh, yeah.
No bone involvement. Okay, the bullet was spent.
That's good. Feel okay?
Sure.
Nurse, methylate applicators, please. Thanks. Let's see now.
Where'd you leave Tyler, Joe?
Interrogation room. Reynolds and Thompson are with him.
Let me have the probe, nurse. Yeah. Feel anything, Romero?
No.
That's it. You hear that?
Hear what?
Located the slug with a probe.
Oh.
Nurse, faucet. Thanks. Here we go. Oh, steady.
You call your wife?
No, she don't worry.
Here it is, boys. On the market for evidence?
Yeah, give it to me, will you? I will.
Nurse, sterile saline solution. Irrigate the wound.
No sign of Tyler's partner, huh, Joe? Guy got me?
No, not yet, no.
Sterile dressings, please.
How long did you know this Tyler? Before he went wrong with me?
I met him in the Army. Helped him line up a job when he got out. It's too bad.
Sure is funny. Meeting a friend of yours pulled an armed robbery. Must have surprised you, huh?
Yeah, kind of. You want me to drive you home when the doc's finished here?
Let's go back to the office and talk to Tyler first.
Okay. Is that all right, Doc?
No. You're staying right here, Romero, till tomorrow morning. If you haven't got a temperature by then, I might release you.
Oh, it's only a flesh wound, Doc. I feel all right.
I'm not taking any chances with gunshot wounds. If infection set in and you were laid up, I'd have the pension committee to answer to. You're staying here.
Sounds like an order.
It is. You can pick them up from the P&F floor tomorrow morning.
Okay. You going to need anything, Ben?
Yeah. A phone to tell my wife I won't be home for dinner.
His name was Max Tyler, white, male American, age 32. Dark hair, brown eyes, medium build, married, father of twin boys. He was a friend of mine. We served together in the Army overseas, and when the war finished, I came back to my job on the force, and Max went back to his old job. It didn't fit him anymore. He stopped working and started drinking. His wife didn't help much. Max started with small trouble, but it grew fast. On the afternoon of February the 8th, Tuesday, Ben and I surprised two men holding up a Main Street jewelry shop. Shots were exchanged, and Ben received a flesh wound in the shoulder. One of the hold-up men escaped. The other one was apprehended. His name was Max Tyler. Hi, Larry.
Hi, Joe. Glad you got here. Tyler says you won't talk to anybody but you.
Okay, boy. Thanks for standing by.
Sure. I'll be outside. You need anything.
Max?
Joe?
You're in deep this time. You shot a cop.
I didn't. This guy was with me. I didn't fire once.
You were in on the job.
Yeah.
Then don't expect presents.
I don't expect anything, Joe. Glad you came back. I don't want to talk to those other cops.
I work in the same department they do. Same job.
Well, it's easier to talk to you.
What's your story?
I was crazy to try it. No alibis, Joe, but
I didn't know what I was doing, believe me. I just didn't realize.
I won't buy it, Max. You told me the same thing 14 months ago when they picked you up for those bum checks you were passing.
Sure, I hung some paper, but I'm no hood, Joe. You know that. I was drinking. I needed dough for Dorothy and the kids. You got to believe me. I need a break.
You said that before, too. I went to bat for you, got off with 6 months and 3 years probation. Now you turn up with another caper.
I know, Joe, I know. I'm sorry.
You're sorry once, Max, and it works, but one free ride's enough for anybody. Now, that's it.
Did I say I wanted that kind of a break? I'll serve my time, Joe. I'll serve every day I owe.
And then what can you tell me you couldn't have told the other cops?
I want to ask you a favor.
Yeah?
I know you're going to hook me on this. So while I'm doing my time, Dorothy and the kids are staying with relatives out in Inglewood. If you'll... Well, just keep an eye on them, you know, Joe. I don't mean dough. Dorothy can work with... Kind of watch out for them, huh? Give them a break, Joe. It's not their fault. You do it, Joe?
Yeah. Sure, I'll take care of it. Now, you do something for me.
Anything you want, guy.
Let's have the straight story. Who was the guy with you on that holdup this afternoon?
Cresta, George Cresta. You know him.
Out of Folsom? Short guy, black hair?
Yeah. He's got a room above the Red Owl Bar down on East 3rd near Broadway. That's where he hangs out.
Where can we find Cresta now?
Oh, maybe there. I don't know. I'll give you a list of the places he goes. Some of his friends I've met. He sure roped me in. Said there wasn't going to be any rough stuff.
You were carrying an S&W 38?
Sure. When they got outside the jewelry shop, Cresta jammed the gun in my hand. I had to put it away, get it out of sight. Believe me, Joe, he roped me into this. It sounds like an alibi, I know.
This is your second time around, Max. It sounds like one.
Okay, I got nothing coming. Don't forget about Dorothy and the kids. Huh?
I promised you. Now, you want to give me a full statement on the holdup now?
Anything you say, Joe.
I'll call for a stenographer.
Joe.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I am.
I believe you. You got the feeling too late, that's all. Max Tyler was arraigned in municipal court 2 days later. Bail was set at $10,000. 3 days after that came his preliminary hearing in municipal court. At his arraignment in Superior Court, 5 weeks after he'd been apprehended, Tyler entered a plea of not guilty. A date was set for his trial in Superior Court. Meantime, the hunt for George Cresta, Max's accomplice, went on. There wasn't a sign of him. Our informants had no lead on him, and the all-points bulletin containing all the information we had on Cresta brought in nothing. On Monday, March 22nd, the trial of Max Tyler was held in Superior Court. Ben and I were subpoenaed to appear. The victim of the holdup, the jewelry store manager, was the first to testify. He was questioned by both the prosecutor and the counsel for the defense. He left the stand at 11:25 a.m.
If it please, Your Honor.
Counsel for the defense.
Before the next witness testifies, I'd like permission to approach the bench.
Permission granted. Counsel for the prosecution may also approach.
Wonder what that's all about, Joe.
Something's up.
Hey, look. Judge is shaking his head. Public defender's going back to the counsel's table.
Counsel for the defense.
Your Honor, it's my client's desire to change his plea to guilty.
Defendant rise and face the court. Max Tyler, is that your true name?
Yes, Your Honor.
On the 12th day of March of this year, in Superior Court, Department 83, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California, you have heretofore been arraigned on the charge of robbery in the first degree. At that time, you pled not guilty to the charge in question. Is it now your desire to change that plea?
Yes, sir, it is.
You've reached this decision of your own free will?
Yes, I have.
There's been no force employed, no promise of gratuity or reward to induce you to reach this decision?
No, sir.
Counsel for the prosecution.
Yes, Your Honor. Max Tyler, on the 12th day of March of this year in Superior Court, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California, you are arraigned on the charge of robbery in the first degree. That time you entered a plea as set forth in this information. How do you now plead? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Is it stipulated that at the time of the commission of the robbery, the defendant was armed with a deadly weapon, to wit a revolver? So stipulated.
Court to fix the degree of robbery is robbery in the first degree.
Your Honor, in the interest of justice, the people move to dismiss count 2, assault with a deadly weapon.
At this time, Your Honor, the defendant waives time for sentencing and asks that he be sentenced immediately.
Just a moment. Max Tyler, it's the judgment of this court that on the 8th day of February of this year, you did enter the premises at 23108 East Main Street in the city, and there did attempt the felonious taking of personal property in the possession of another, from his person and immediate presence and against his will. Further, said attempt was made while you were armed with a dangerous and deadly weapon. Tyler, this court finds you guilty of robbery in the first degree. Count 2 is dismissed.
Does it, Joe?
Decision of this court that you be returned to the county jail. The sheriff will transfer you to the state penitentiary where you will serve the sentence as prescribed by law. Court recess for 15 minutes.
Hey, Joe, Miss Tyler over there, she's taking it pretty hard.
Yeah, come on, we better go see her. Hello, Dorothy.
I love him, Joe. What am I going to do without him? Children.
I'll give it you straight, Dorothy. You didn't do much to keep Max out of this. You drank right along with him. You don't
Joe,
deserve those kids. That's my opinion.
Please, I know it. Don't make it any harder. Don't.
I'll do anything I can for the kids, Dorothy. That's all.
What am I going to do without him? I can't be all alone without Max. It's not right. It's not right.
Neither's armed robbery. Goodbye, Dorothy. Before the end of March, Max Tyler was delivered to San Quentin State Penitentiary, where he started serving his term. His wife, Dorothy Tyler, got a job as a telephone operator. She and her children continued living with their relatives down in Inglewood. I helped them out whenever I could. 6 months went by. Every 2 weeks, faithfully, Tyler wrote me a letter from prison. I answered most of them. While Ben and I worked on other jobs, the search for George Cresta went on. We failed to uncover a single lead. 10 months passed. Tuesday, January 16th, 1949, 4 p.m. I checked in for work as usual.
Hi, Joe. Cold out, huh?
Yeah. Did you pick up the mail?
Mm-hmm. There's a letter in your box from San Quentin.
Tyler, huh?
How's he doing anyway?
Good. Clean record. Got himself a pretty fair job in the prison library.
Yeah.
I talked to the warden up there. Says Tyler ought to be eligible for parole in about a year if he keeps his nose clean.
You going to bat for Tyler again?
I don't know. See what happens.
How can you see anything in that guy? He's giving you nothing but trouble.
Oh, a lot of people are giving him the same. Maybe that explains it.
Not for me, it doesn't. I wouldn't trust him with dirty laundry.
I get it. Robbery Friday.
Joe, it's Dorothy Tyler. I got to talk to you.
Yeah, Dorothy, what's the matter?
I found Cresta. I saw him.
What?
George Cresta. I know where he is. I saw him downtown. I followed him to his place.
You sure it was him?
I'm positive. He's staying at 134 Jesse Street. It's a rooming house just off Alameda. 134 Jesse.
Got it. Thanks, Dorothy. Come on, Ben. 8 minutes later, Ben and I were interviewing the landlord at 134 Jesse Street, a cheap rooming house down on the south end of the city. The landlord's name was Peterson. We showed him Cresta's mug shot, and he told us he was in room 11. We went up a dark, narrow stairway to the second floor.
And here we are, number 11.
All right, stand clear. I'll try the door.
Mm-hmm.
It's open.
Yeah. Joe, have a look. He's asleep.
He's passed out. Come on, slip the cuffs on him.
That was easy.
Yeah. All right, I got his gun.
He's been drinking, all right. He'll have a big hangover.
He'll have a long time to get over it. George Cresta was booked at county jail on suspicion of robbery. 2 months and 3 weeks later in Superior Court, he was tried and convicted of assault with a deadly weapon and first-degree robbery and sentenced to the state penitentiary. The day after Cresta was sentenced, I was called to the office of Chief of Detectives Thad Brown.
Friday, this Max Tyler is coming up for parole in a couple of months. He's a friend of yours, isn't he?
That's right, in a way.
You've been writing letters to the warden. You've talked to the parole board about him. Understand you're helping on his kids.
A few presents. They haven't had much of a break. They're just youngsters.
You're working hard to get Tyler's parole. Do you think he's worth it?
Well, I was off both him and his wife, and then she gave us that tip about Cresta, and Tyler's got such a good record up at Q, I figured they'd earned another chance.
You're sticking your chin out, Joe, helping a con to get a parole. I think you'll realize that.
Well, I believe he's a good risk now, Chief. He's pretty weak in some things. He needs direction, that's all. His wife's getting better. She might help more than she did.
I hope both of them are worth it.
If anything happens, I know I'm going to get it from all sides.
You really think some men deserve another chance, don't you?
Yes, sir, I do.
I wouldn't want you working for me if you didn't.
2 more weeks went by. Tuesday, April the 19th. Ben came down with a bad cold and had to lay off work. At the same time, a new gang started a hold-up campaign among the liquor stores out in the Wilshire district. A new rash of armed robberies broke out in the central area. There was an attempted bank robbery. It was a bad week. Ben got back to work on Saturday.
Rough time, huh, Joe?
Busy, yeah. Did you beat that cold all right?
Sure, I feel much better. Doctor gave me some new medicine. Works good.
Oh, that's fine. Maybe I'll knock off early tonight if nothing's doing.
That's a good idea. Shouldn't be too much tonight.
Teletype for you. Just came in.
Oh, thanks, Larry.
Sure.
What's the matter, Joe? What is it?
Max Tyler. He broke out of prison this morning.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action. And now, here's an authentic report from Fatima Cigarettes.
In 1949, Fatima doubled, tripled, and quadrupled its smokers.
In 1950, enjoy Fatima yourself.
You'll find Fatima extra mild.
Because Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobacco superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild.
You'll find Fatima tastes much better.
Fatima's superb blend gives you a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
You'll find Fatima tops in cigarette quality.
Fatima has always stood for the best in cigarette quality. For a new year of great smoking enjoyment, buy Fatima in the appealing golden yellow package. You'll agree, Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
In the course of his career, the police officer is afforded two diverse views of the criminal. At first, the rookie cop is taught to distrust the criminal at every turn, without exception. He's schooled in the 1,001 ways in which the criminal operates, his psychology, his mode of operation. Then, when he's thoroughly acquainted with the methods of the criminal and how best to detect them, the police officer starts to learn the most difficult lesson of all: how to distinguish between the confirmed criminal and the lawbreaker, in whom there is hope of rehabilitation. After 9.5 years of police work, my first experiment in this field was with Max Tyler. I'd given him 2 chances to prove himself, and he'd lost on both of them. So did I. 2 months before his parole hearing, which might have given him his freedom, Max Tyler had suddenly decided to escape. How he figured it, I didn't know, but it was my job to find him. At 5 o'clock that afternoon, Ben and I met in the chief of detective's office. 2 officers, Holland and Grayson, from the State Adult Authority, escape detail, were there.
How did Tyler manage his escape, Grayson? Well, same old story. They figured they could trust him up there. He had a good job on the prison farm. They trusted him.
When did they find out he was gone?
On the early morning count. Have you checked his relatives out in Inglewood yet?
Yeah, we have. We've got the home staked out. We're covering all the places we figure he might go.
How about Mrs. Tyler? You get in touch with her, Friday?
The relatives told us that she's on a weekend vacation with the 2 kids, staying with friends down at Laguna Beach.
We got a call in to them. Should be hearing from them soon.
I understand Tyler's a friend of yours, Friday. He was ready for parole.
Yeah. I was trying to help him along. I thought the guy deserved a break.
He didn't need you, Joe. He made his own. Well, he was feeling bad. You weren't the only one fooled, Friday. You had the prison officials buffaloed, too.
Yeah, I know. I helped convince them. You got any leads on Tyler at all, Grayson? I mean, from the time he broke prison?
Pretty strange. They traced him as far as Stockton, and then they lost the trail completely.
The Stockton police in on the search?
Yeah, sure funny. The guy has no money, no car we know of, no change of clothes.
You figure he's getting help from somebody?
Could be.
Excuse me a minute. Brown speaking. Just a moment. You, Friday.
Oh, thank you. Friday? Yeah. When? Where? Just a minute. Will you hold on, please? It's the Tyler's friends down at Laguna Beach.
Mrs. Tyler there?
No, she called him last night about 7 o'clock. Told him she'd changed her plans. She wasn't coming.
She told them where she was going?
She wanted to know which highway would take her to Stockton. We told the Tyler's friends in Laguna Beach to contact us immediately if they heard from either Mr. or Mrs. Tyler. We got out an APB on Dorothy Tyler, and then we drove out to interview her relatives in Inglewood. They told us that Mrs. Tyler had the 2 children with her. She had left their house at 6 p.m. the night before by taxi. As far as they knew, she didn't own a car. We talked with some of her friends in the neighborhood. The only thing they could tell us was that she had not borrowed a car from any of them. We drove down to the telephone exchange where she was employed as an operator, and we spoke with a manager, Mr. Ralph Cartwright.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. This is Mrs. Tyler's night off. Is there something I can help you with?
When is Miss Tyler due back to work, Mr. Cartwright?
Well, she's working the 10 to 7 starting tomorrow, due in at 10 a.m.
Uh-huh. We understand that she's on a weekend vacation, huh?
Yes, you see, today was payday, so she asked me if she could have her check ahead of time. Said she had to have the money for the weekend.
Did you give her the check?
Oh, my, no. I couldn't give her the check ahead of time. But I did do her a favor, just to help her over the weekend.
What was that?
I loaned her my car.
We got a complete description of the car together with a license number and called the office. The information was broadcast to all units throughout the city and teletyped to all points in the state. Chief of Detectives Thad Brown ordered an immediate stakeout on the telephone exchange where Mrs. Tyler was employed. The stakeout at the home of Inglewood continued. Another day passed. We checked with the bank where Mrs. Tyler maintained her account. It was 10:25 a.m. when we got back to robbery detail.
Gentlemen, what'd you find out?
Miss Tyler closed her account 3 days ago, withdrew all her savings, $46.55.
I'm not going to go far on that.
Any word about that car she borrowed?
Teletype came in about an hour ago. They found it just outside Santa Barbara, abandoned.
Anyone see the Tylers?
No reports.
I wonder how those poor kids are making out.
Yeah. He must be crazy, and his wife, too. If she was going to help him pull an escape, why'd she have to drag the kids along?
It's the way some parents figure, Friday. They owe their children nothing. The children owe them everything.
Call for you, Friday. Take it on 2.
Oh, thanks, Larry. Friday.
This is Hopkins, Friday, on stakeout, the phone exchange.
Yeah, Bert.
Tyler woman came for a check. We got her.
Dorothy Tyler was brought into the city hall. With her was one of her children. He was delivered to the juvenile authorities for the time being. Mrs. Tyler was brought to the interrogation room. She refused to admit anything to the officers from the adult authority. She said she wanted to talk to me. I went in. She threw her arms around me and started crying.
Joe, you won't let him get Max, will you? You won't let him.
I'm after him as much as they are, maybe more. Where is he?
I can't tell you.
Why'd you do it, Dorothy? Why?
Oh, you know why, Joe. You know why. I had to see him. I had to be with Max.
It's a bum deal. You traded days for years.
They can't get it. If I don't tell them where he is, they won't find him.
They'll find him. He's got to eat, so do you and the kids. He has to go to work, and working with a gun is all he knows. He'll leave a trail. We'll find him.
Children. What have they done to the children? Where's Jimmy?
They're taking care of him. That's more than you did. Where's your other boy, Vance?
With Max. Max has him.
Oh, that's fine. You and Max ought to be real proud of yourselves.
I had to see him. You know that. I had to see Max.
Has he got a gun? Has he? Has he used it?
No. He just thought he might need it. He hasn't hurt anyone. I swear it.
You helped him escape, is that right? You helped him.
He needed help. I met him at San Rafael. We drove all night. He didn't hurt anyone, Joe. He hasn't hurt anyone.
Where is he now? Where is he? All right, Dorothy, we'll find him.
Joe, if I tell you, will you go alone? I can show you the way. Will you go alone?
Yeah.
All right. I'll take you to him, Joe. I trust you.
Yeah, I trusted him once, too. 5 p.m., Monday, April 25th. Dorothy Tyler, Ben, and I got in the car and headed north for the coast town of Santa Maria. Acting under orders of Chief of Detectives Thad Brown, Larry Thompson from Robbery Detail followed in another car. Holland and Grayson from the State Adult Authority were with him. It was 10 minutes past 8 when we drove through the town of Santa Maria. Just outside the city, Dorothy Tyler directed us to turn off onto a dirt road. We drove about 2 miles. She told us to pull up.
Across that field. Shack by those trees.
Lonely out here.
I'll go with you, Joe. Maybe Max won't understand.
Oh, you stay here.
Joe, that car stopped here.
It's cops, Dorothy. It had to be. They won't shoot unless Max does.
But you promised. You said you'd go alone.
I'll go alone.
Friday?
Hello, Grayson.
Where is he? She tell you?
That shack over there across the field by that clump of trees.
He's got one of the kids with him, that right?
Yeah, he won't be any trouble.
He's armed. The cons up at Quentin say he won't be taken alive. They say he'll shoot it out.
They talk a lot.
You better let us take him. You're not getting paid for this one.
I'll take him alone. I made a promise.
That guy in the shack's in the habit of breaking promises.
I keep mine. Keep an eye on Miss Tyler, will you, Ben?
Thompson's watching her. I'm coming with you.
I told her I'd go alone.
There's 2 doors, front and back. Which one you going in?
Front.
I'll be around back. Careful, Joe.
Yeah. I'll be right back, Grayson. I started to cross the field. The shack was about 100 yards from the road. The field was uncultivated, and I wasn't sure of my footing. I stumbled over a tree stump. Halfway across the field, the lights in the shack went out.
Who's there? Who is it?
It's me, Max. Joe Friday. Max? Come on, open up. All right, Max.
Why the gun, Joe? I never thought you'd take me with a gun.
I never thought I'd have to kick down a door to get you. You've changed a lot, Max.
How'd you find me, Dorothy tell you? Where is she?
Outside. Your boy over there, Vance.
He's sleeping. He's okay.
Put out your hands. Put out your hands.
Oh. I'm sorry, Joe.
Yeah.
You've been good to us. I won't try to explain.
Neither will I, Max. Come on.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, City and County of Marin, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to Fatima. Here are the actual figures. New York Division.
Fatima sales up 132%.
Los Angeles Division.
Fatima sales up 545%.
St. Louis Division.
Fatima sales up 548%.
Yes, in 1949, more and more smokers discovered that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
They found Fatima extra mild.
They found Fatima has a much different, much better flavor.
They found the name Fatima means the best in cigarette quality.
In 1950, enjoy Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
Max Tyler pleaded guilty to the charge of escape and was sentenced to the term as prescribed by law. He was returned to San Quentin and then transferred to Folsom Penitentiary, where he is now serving his sentence. You have just heard Dragnet, a new series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Acting Chief of Police, W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Dragnet honors the state of California and the men of the California Highway Patrol, another of America's outstanding law enforcement agencies. One of these men, Highway Patrol Commissioner Clifford E. Peterson, outstanding administrator and educator in the field of law enforcement, dedicates his life to making yours more secure.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Be sure to hear Mr. and Mrs. Ronald Coleman in the Halls of Ivy starting tomorrow on NBC.